is all you.
Me too.
We're a little full.
Really?
Oh wow. That room's full. What do we usually use a lower level film? The auditorium. The auditorium doesn't have the electrical inspectors in it anymore.
You want to set them up in there? And maybe put it.
How do we
Put
call
another
them up
TV.
then?
Yeah.
Can we put up another full circuit?
What's our next?
All right, then where's he going?
He's waiting because they're trying to deal with there's 100 more people coming in. So they're trying to find a place to put them and sign them in. And he's handling this right now.
Game on.
Temperature's getting warmer. Except for
He's downstairs.
Yeah, we should.
Come up with Ryan.
We have Tom here, just in case it gets too warm.
Should we tell Ryan to have him come up?
We have Tom here, just in case it gets too warm. It's up to 72 now.
It's 767. I didn't need this.
It was 60.
I just asked him to grab John and come up.
Okay.
What's the humidity though?
72.
The 2 points had a bomb.
Yeah.
It's a meter.
It's 72 and 70.
Weird.
They don't look very happy with me. I'm putting over the pattern book. The pattern book.
Yeah, we're adjourning it until
Yeah.
September 10th, right?
Yeah.
The what?
The pattern book.
What's
It's Katie. Katie. Katie.
Yeah, you're gonna make that clear before they can come up to speak about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope they don't.
Oh, they will.
I think. I'm assuming.
Some of the cards are blue. What's the difference? We ran out. We're just waiting for somebody to come in that's getting a certificate, so we'll get started in any minute.
Oh, fix it.
It's fine.
That's Donna.
What happened?
gases? Yeah.
Well, nice thing. I'm happy to one of the reporters.
We're gonna do it first. Yeah. Yes.
What we doing?
He's gotta bring Sharpie in. Drink it and
Oh.
proclamation.
It's amazing.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Huh?
What's the name?
What did you say?
I said, qu'est-ce que c'est?
What is that?
What is it? What is it?
What?
It's amazing. I don't know why.
It's really good.
What's the name?
Tommy John. He did like a nice little
Suspense.
Eight.
They'll be there.
Need a chair for Jan.
Not that
He
one.
goes, yeah, no, it's works up there. And then he says to me, you know, this is attorney. This woman in legal age, she's phenomenal. Now that's my daughter. That was right. Is this happening? Oh, she's great. Yeah, her I'll claim.
What do you mean?
That's Maria. Tell her that's Sharpie.
Okay.
obviously. It says that on his shirt.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
Yes. Oh, are we open?
all right. So Kevin, are you ready for us to get started? Okay, great. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's a little crowd.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Moore,
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Isilli.
Present.
Councilman Powell.
Present.
Councilman Skibble.
Present.
Here.
Oops. Sorry.
Got a couple of certificates for tonight.
Okay.
So on Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, Chief Rankin and Fire Marshal Sharkey, here with us tonight, were returning from an inspection in Hampton Bays when an emergency call went out from a business located in Hampton Bays. On arrival, they found an adult female collapsed behind a desk in her office. The patient had no pulse and was not breathing. Chief Rankin took over chest compressions until the ambulance personnel arrived. Fire Marshal Sharkey then received a bag valve mask and maintained the patient's airway to administer rescue breaths. After a pulse was detected, the patient was transported to Stony Brook Southampton Hospital, where she continued to recover. Ultimately, the timely and effective response of Rankin and Sharkey, along with the continued care of the ambulance crews and hospital, played a critical role in the life-saving efforts of the woman in question. So on behalf of the town board, we would like to present you with these certificates of thanks and recognition.
Hold on, before you guys leave, I just want to add that the young lady that you performed CPR on celebrated her 31st birthday today.
So thank you for everybody recognizing John and Shane for the work that they did on that day. It was certainly above and beyond what we would normally expect of them on any given day. The Fire Marshal's Office of the Town of Southampton is a very dedicated but small unit and do a lot of wonderful things for the town on a regular basis. And it's really a pleasure to be able to take a couple of moments to recognize them for what they did on this particular day. Really going above and beyond the call of duty, and on a regular basis, all of the members of that division do a fantastic job for the town of Southampton. So thank you both for what you did.
Thank you, Ron. All right, let's continue. I move to accept the minutes of the town board meeting of August 13th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
Certainly. We have received the following communications in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Department of Public Service, Town of Riverhead Notice of Adoptions, Village of West Hampton Beach Zoning Board of Appeals application for 360 Dune Road. Emails, letters, and land use applications have been received regarding the following topics: armed school resource officers in Riverhead School District, change of zone application for Central Suffolk Hospital, 242 Old Country Road, Eastport, Hampton Bays draft pattern book, planning board matter of Heatherwood property, Hampton Bays, Shinnecock Nation development of Westwoods property, Hampton Bays, zoning board of appeals application for Pine Avenue in Flanders. The following bid and request for proposal was received August 21st. for the Sagaponic and Bridgehampton Beach Erosion Control Nourishment Project from the Town Attorney's Office. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. I do have 5 walk-on resolutions that I'll put forward to add to the agenda tonight. The first is for the warrant, number 16. That's Town Board Resolution ID number 4713. Then Town Board Resolution ID number 47275 to waive a portion of the showmobile fees for the San Gennaro Feast of the Hamptons. Town Board Resolution ID number 47277 to authorize the waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue Swim Challenge. Town Board Resolution ID number 47303 to appoint Kathleen Vermeulen to Senior Office Assistant in Municipal Works. And Town Board Resolution ID number 47294 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for the Alewife Creek Culvert Restoration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thanks, everyone. All right, that brings us to the public hearings. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for public hearing number 1?
Public hearing number 1, to consider amendments to Town Code 123-5 with respect to road review requirements.
We have an attorney, Katie Garvin, with us tonight.
Yep, good evening. I'm Assistant Town Attorney Katie Garvin, and I am here tonight on behalf of the Road Review Committee to ask you to consider making some changes to the requirements for road review. This is actually something that we had discussed at a work session, and what follows is pretty much everything that we had discussed. As many of you are aware, the Road Review Committee is comprised of 5 people. It's designated from the Building Department, Highway Department, Engineering Departments, as well as a member of both the Planning and the Zoning Boards. The Road Review Committee meets monthly to review the condition of private and trustee roads where there are vacant lots and new construction of dwellings are proposed. The requirements that come out of the Road Review Committee are basically to ensure that there is safe access for emergency vehicles to all of these new dwellings on these lots. What is proposed is basically now to send anybody to the Road Review Committee where they're proposing either a brand new dwelling, like they're demolishing a dwelling and they're building a new one, or they're proposing to double the total floor area of the existing dwelling. And the reason that this is proposed to the Road Review Committee, or to the Town Board right now, is that the Road Review Committee is realizing that there are very few vacant lots left in the town. And so if the lots are all improved on a private road and somebody comes in to demolish an existing house and build a new one, we're finding that the roads are getting torn up. And where we used to presume that there was safe access because there were certificates of occupancy on these houses, now we're realizing that the roads may become in disrepair. So that's what we're asking you to consider. I did send a copy of this to Joe Lombardo, who's the attorney who sits with the trustees, and he supported this. He thought that this was a great idea. He said that the trustees agreed, but it's something that we wanted you guys to consider because it really, when the properties go to the Road Review Committee, they make recommendations for the improvements to the town board to adopt and to the trustees to adopt. So it really is, although they're doing the legwork, it's really for the town board and the trustees to make those findings. And I have the town engineer here who also sits on the Road Review Committee if you have any questions for him specifically.
So this is not only town-owned roads, but
No, these are private roads. All private roads.
roads.
Private roads and trustee roads. That's it. Town roads, it's presumed that you have safe access because the town is maintaining those roads. These are for the private roads.
And we had a work session.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. We did.
Yep.
All right, so when we're just adding the new dwellings and additional area. Hey, Tom, did you have anything you wanted to add to what Katie just presented?
Tom Horton, town engineer. Really, the gist of this is that it gives us a mechanism to maintain roads that are damaged by new construction for roads that are not otherwise maintained by those residents that live on them. Some private roads are in great shape. You have a homeowners association or you have a group of residents that really take pride in keeping the gravel kept up, no potholes, plowing it regularly, all of that, keeping the vegetation at bay. There are other private roads where the homeowners that live on these roads that are responsible for maintaining them, they can't get together. They can't agree on improvements. They are unwilling to cost share. On those private roads, they're in poor condition. And if a brand new house comes in and they're bringing in 12 concrete trucks to pour a 8,000 square foot foundation, that road takes a lot of abuse through that construction project. And through this method, we would be able to hold that builder accountable to repairing the road when they're done, to leave that road in a satisfactory condition after they've performed the construction. If the road's in good shape and the road holds up, then there will be very few improvements, if any. We might ask for some tree trimming so that the fire trucks don't whack their windows on overhanging branches as they're coming through. But on other roads that are 10 feet wide that you can barely fit one car down, we're going to ask for some improvements to widen them, to make them safe. It's possible that they may have had improvements made to them in 1979 when the committee was formed, but over 40, 50 years, the vegetation creeps in, the asphalt deteriorates. Roads don't last forever. They've got to be kept up. And this would allow us to start to go back into those neighborhoods that we previously haven't been able to have an opinion on. And the whole way that this works is that the building permit is contingent upon the road review process. So that house would not receive their permit until we've had a chance to weigh in.
But you're not looking at just right in front of the home, right? You're looking at further.
Yeah, so it depends on where the house is. We look for the most direct means of access from the nearest town road, right? So if you're a corner lot that you bought a town road, we're going to look right in front of your house. If you're a mile down the street, we may look in front of your house. We may get some potholes on the way. So we try and be very reasonable. We weigh it out between the 5 members typically, and we even give the homeowners or the contractors or whoever a chance to come back and talk to us and determine whether or tell us whether or not they feel it's reasonable, and then we can weigh in and modify. But none of it's ever set in stone. So we try and be fair. We try and you can't get everything, but we're going to try and make these roads safer. So
It sounded all good to me until you said something about if the road's only 10 feet wide. Is that going to be incumbent on that one property owner to do you're not going to make that person do the entire road?
So historically, we've asked for about $18,000 worth of improvements at the top end. That is a hard number that we do not exceed. So let's say they live 2 miles down a road and there's no road there. We're not going to make them spend $300,000 to build a road, right? We have our limit that we work to, and we attempt to kind of piecemeal our way through a neighborhood. So,
and we need to make it safe for first responders to pass to service the home.
So we may not be paving every road, but we might get the tree clearing that we need on this go around, and if another house comes through, then we might get the road widened 3 feet with some RCA, and on the next go around we come in with some asphalt. It's a long-term view on these roads that we continuously build on previous road review applications to attempt to try and get an 18-foot road. That's our goal at the end. So.
And I read this is a reaction to our new building patterns. Not only, because it said building or structure, and you added, or Katie added, a new structure as well as an addition that proposes a double in floor area, and we're seeing plenty of those.
Yeah,
So-
we wanted to make it reasonable. If you're adding on a mudroom or you're adding a bedroom, that's not really.
Right.
We don't want to bring you to the table for that. You're still using your house as it was. If you're doubling the size of your house, it's a significant investment in your home. So we would like an investment in the road, if any. Not all roads require improvements. If you take, there are some roads that are paved and curbed, and the HOA really takes good care of them, and we don't ask for anything on those. So,
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Let me just, does anyone on the board have any questions at the moment?
No.
I don't have any cards on this public hearing, but I see that President Horowitz of the trustees is here and would like to speak to us.
Supervisor, members of the board. I think that this is a good step forward, and we do support this as well. As you're aware, we've been struggling with trustee roads. We have very limited budget in our restricted road account. You know, we have a lot of historical roads. There are no shortcuts in this town anymore. They're full of inhabitants. They're paying taxes, and we want to keep them safe. Basic services, plowing, salting, sanding, you know, taking care of potholes when we can. So whatever it is that you can do is quite helpful. I know Councilman Pell is familiar with this. He wrestled with those problems as a trustee as well. So I want to thank you for working, and it's a pleasure working with Tom as well. So we support it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Katie, when it says a frontage of 20 feet, does that mean on either side of the home? I mean, I'm just trying to get a sense of how expansive the request would be able to be to the homeowner.
The 20 feet. Yeah, none of that has changed. The criteria that's in here mimics the New York State town law. I think what you're talking about is you're interested in the scope of the improvements that need to be made, and like Tom said, it really is very case specific. And up until recently, it's been very onerous. If you have one vacant lot left on the street, if you're all the way at the end, you know, we do try to make sure that the whole path is improved. Now, certainly you can't make somebody do that much improvements, and that's why there's a cap on it. And we also want to be legally safe. We don't want somebody improving, you know, something that's not necessarily part of their property. So this proposed amendment actually will save everybody, I think, some time and money, because if and when those houses get demolished and they get rebuilt, or if and when they do additions, they'll start sharing the cost of the improvements again. So it's, you know, I think back when a lot of these lots were vacant, people were doing significant improvements to the roads because there was nobody left. And the first lot ended up having to really start building the road, or, you know, and that's the true for a lot of the trustee roads where they're kind of punching in and there's nothing there. But yeah, that 20 feet that you're talking about, that has to do with how much road frontage you're supposed to have in order to be considered safe.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that has a hand up for the first public hearing?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. Well, if no one else has any comments or questions, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2 for the adoption of an updated pattern book for the hamlet of Hampton Bays.
Thank you. I'm just want to make everyone aware that the board wanted some additional time to review the changes that we received on Friday with the updates to the pattern book. So we're going to adjourn this public hearing to the September 10th meeting, in case there's any other changes forthcoming. Janice, you're here to
Yes,
speak on this.
Good evening. Janice Scherer, Town Planning and Development Administrator. I just wanted to quickly go over the changes that were made. You
I don't think we should do that because the board hasn't had an opportunity to review any of them, so that's why we wanted some more time, and we would adjourn the public hearing to September 10th.
You don't want me to go over the changes? Okay, great.
Got a night off.
You're supposed to be on vacation.
And just so
I
you
know,
know,
I didn't
we
think you
know
were coming
that
tonight.
it still says Squiretown, Ponquag East, and Springwell West on page 4. That's got to be fixed, and there was a few other things. I'll hand this in to the clerk for the record. We have a bulleted list of everything that was changed. So
Okay,
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Janice.
And then we'll drill down on the changes, and we'll be fully versed on the 10th to talk about it. In the meantime, we do have some cards if people would like to speak tonight, but just know that the board is looking to review the changes and maybe make additional changes at the January 10th meeting.
September 10th.
September 10th. September, thank you. All right, well, if you're still inclined to speak, I do have some cards. The first is Al Caiola. And I would remind everyone to please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll make it brief. I just wanted to thank the board members and the public for, having a good look at this pattern book, coming up with comments, and then, having them inserted and really sort of looking at this towards, moving the process along in a positive way. And I believe that this is the first step in creating the vibrant and walkable downtown that we all deserve. Over the last several months, through recent public discourse, it's been extremely refreshing to see people begin to take an objective and supportive view, especially those who previously have not. We all want nothing more than to create a downtown we can all be proud of. I've been carefully listening, and I remain mindful of everyone's thoughts and concerns. I have hired one of the top master planners in the country whose directive was to investigate, understand, and design a quaint, vibrant, charming, and sustainable downtown that residents and visitors alike can enjoy with their families and friends. I think everyone who has taken the time to look and listen understands and can get behind the vision that we have developed. I've retained professionals whose expertise it is to determine what is appropriate in the context of its surroundings. It's those master planners and others whose skills and deep experience has informed my vision. In closing, I just want to reiterate that my goal is and always has been to create the most admired and enjoyed downtown in the Hamptons. I have to have a downtown that embraces its beautiful 36-acre park that no other town in the Hamptons has as its centerpiece. I am extremely excited to finally see a path to Hampton Bays having this dream come true and becoming the jewel of the Hamptons. So thank you all
Could you
for
please
your
identify
efforts.
yourself before?
Alfred Caiola.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Robert. It might be Tyson, but I don't think so. Oh, there you are. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for letting me speak. My name is Robert Tyson. I'm
Oh, it is Tyson. Oh.
a Hampton Bays resident. I will try to be brief, okay? I did review on Friday the 23rd the latest revised edition of the pattern book. I have a couple of comments on that, but first, I am happy to hear that you are going to continue to review the pattern book and consider editing certain portions of it. I think that's a wise thing to do. I think it's important that you keep your elected authority. This book will become, in effect, code. I don't think it's appropriate for staff to make policy. I think that's the job of elected officials. I'm trying to say this in a way that is not offensive, but I think that connecting roads into Good Ground Park is a terrible mistake. I think it's a violation of the reason why parks exist, which is a passive and quiet and reflective area. It should not be in the pattern book. God forbid Mr. Caiola does not go forward with this project. God forbid Home Depot puts a largest building in Hampton Bays on that piece of property and wants to access Good Ground Park with all of the commercial vehicles that go along with it, okay? Keep that ask in the power of the board, okay? Don't make that as a out of right in this document, okay? I would recommend reviewing page 10, page 17, page 100, and page 101. Those specifically in writing and in diagrams indicate that that book, which will be code, okay, sponsors or authorizes roads from Montauk Highway into Good Ground Park. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Gail Lombardi.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. I am speaking on my own behalf and not on behalf of any organization. So again, I want to thank this board for moving it forward and taking everyone's comments so seriously. It's refreshing, and I want to thank you all for that. But I do want to echo, and Bob and I did not practice this, I do want to echo a little bit what Bob said. So when you read the pattern book, even in its current form, you're deflecting your responsibility, and it is problematic to me too. You're our elected officials. You should make the zoning. You should have, the backbone to have the discussion with us, because the way that it is now, and the way Suffolk County reviewed the original one, is it delegates it down to your planning boards and your zoning boards of appeals, who basically are appointed officials. They're not accountable to us, and therefore, they have these long terms, and they have their own biases, and so we have that issue. Even in the new book, there's sections, so I will document, as Bob did, certain pages. And the other thing is, again, by delegating it and allowing, and there's sections that say this is for a developer to use. It doesn't say this is a plan for zoning. It says this is a plan for a developer. And so you're skipping a step. And so with that, you're bringing your environmental review down to a site. And, the problem with the original case that was thrown out and the problem with BESS, and the problem with a lot of what's been done on this board, is that you look at a project site instead of the whole rezoning. So if you had looked at the BESS rezoning and it had 1,000 sites, you would have said, oh my gosh, we shouldn't be doing this, because if we have 1,000 sites, we can't, a community can't afford this, physically cannot afford this. And the same thing is with any of this downtown. I looked at West Hampton Beach, I looked at Southampton Village zoning. They're both at 2.5 stories. They're not higher, they're 35 feet, and they don't allow residential. So I don't know why, in Hampton Bays, we're considering that, when that's been like the state's mantra for workforce housing, to bring it into the downtown. And the picture, I think this is what, and again, Bob and I did not practice this, we didn't talk at all. Page 17 is, I believe, the same picture that may have been in the massing study with the fake pond, the one that is really not a pond, it's the recharge station. And in the massing study, that accounted for 160 housing units, 300,000 square feet, that's in the 10 acres, and 200 of it is residential. If the town now is changing over to now this is workforce housing, and that's really the purpose, no longer commercial, no longer retail, no longer increased commercial, then be honest with the community. It is what it is. If that's what it's changing into, it's morphing into, because retail is down, developers need to make money, and so it's got to be, tell us, be honest with us. We're not idiots, we're not unreasonable, but the bobbing and weaving that we've had to experience on this has really been, disrespectful, to say the least. So I'm hoping I'll send my comments directly with the additional pages, and I'm hoping you guys take a look at it and then just be honest with the community, what it is you're attempting to do. Thank you.
Hey, Gail, we were down at the Bel Air today.
Did they start demolishing it?
It started on Monday.
Internally.
They're doing internal. So
now, a lot of people, you know what? A lot of people were opposed to that. There were people that are maybe clapping now that may have been like wanting the condos, So, but we looked at it. I looked at it from an environmental perspective. It was a bad site. But anyway, I'll let you guys go.
Thank
You
you.
have a busy day.
Thank you. Oh, Eileen McPhalen. And after Eileen is John Leonard.
Thank you, Board. I just want to mention 2 things good. Great, Bel Air. Thank you very much.
8 months.
Kudos to that you even have an idea that has anything to do with road planning and fixing, and thank you very much. As far as the downtown revitalization, that name has made me crazy from the onset. So let's say, starting here to the door is Hampton Bay's Main Street, all of Main Street, west to as far east. Here is Mr. Kyola's property. How do you call it? Downtown revitalization. It's a spot. And I don't see how it's going to benefit all of Hampton Bays, downtown, or any other part of Hampton Bays to continue with what is trying to be pushed through. That's all I want to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to the board. My name is John Leonard. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. I'm a business owner in Hampton Bays, and I'm the president of the Hampton Bays Alliance. And I'm here to speak to you in favor of your adoption of the pattern book for the Hampton Bays Downtown District. I'd like to correct a couple of things we've heard tonight. As we all know, this pattern book is to be an amendment to the comprehensive plan. It's to be an addition to the comprehensive plan. It doesn't have the force of law. It is not the force of code, as we all know. And that's why everyone has stood up before you and asked that all references to zoning issues be removed from it. I read the most recent revision. I compared it with the last draft that we had. I'm very pleased to see that many of the things about building heights and such had been removed, as we had all requested. But I do see that the feasibility study pictures are still in there. Those could probably be taken out. I think it's a little incendiary at this point to have those things there when we don't even have a plan on the table yet. So to be against this simply because we think it's going to cause overdevelopment, or we think it's the gateway or zoning code that's going to create extra density or traffic problems, I think is a little far-fetched at this point. So I would ask you to not take into consideration those comments at this point. Today I have... Thank you. When they're done, I'll continue.
Yeah.
And I'd like to reclaim my time.
Thank you, John.
Today I have sent to the board and to Ms. Schermeyer 55 letters from all different members of the Hampton Bays community, both residents, business owners, and residents and business owners like myself. Many of the businesses on Montauk Highway have signed on and have issued letters to you, which advocates for the adoption of the pattern book, finding that the guidelines for architectural styles, materials, and design elements will protect the character of our community and ensure that our hamlet retains a historical look of Southampton hamlets, that the requirements of varied building heights will create aesthetically pleasing vistas in the downtown district that can't be accomplished when all the buildings are the same height, be they 2 stories, 2.5 stories, or 3. And also lauding the pattern book's requirements for wider sidewalks, use of native plantings, and creation of alleys to hide dumpsters and other kinds of retail and commercial equipment, as will enhance the character of the downtown district, make it inviting to all members of our community. So I ask you to look in your emails, and you will find all of those letters. We are wholly in favor of this. I think the business community and many residents in our community are chomping at the bit for this to happen. Most of the comments that I've heard, especially at our extremely successful and unbelievably well-attended August 14th meeting, which was a meet and greet with Mr. Kayola, demonstrated that people want to get going on this. Business owners recognize, even the ones that exist on Montauk Highway, recognize that foot traffic is so important to their existence. Residents in our community recognize that having the ability to have a vibrant, walkable downtown district will enrich their lives.
3 minutes.
There really is no reason for us to not move forward with this. And this pattern book adoption is the first step, and I urge you to adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Leonard, before the next speaker, I just want to commend the Alliance for the meeting that you did have. I thought it was good. I was in attendance, a good exchange of ideas with people in the community, and I want to appreciate Mr. Kayola for being there as well and addressing the community. It was just good meeting.
Maria Haltz, and after Maria, Paul Wexler. And if Paul's no longer, well, that's it. He's the last one.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, Town Board. I'm here
Oh,
in...
Maria, could you just identify yourself for the...
I'm sorry, Maria Holtz. I am, in transparency, a member of the Alliance as well. I'm here as a private citizen, not to speak on behalf of the Alliance. They take no position. The Alliance is there to educate people and to be an open forum. They're not for or against anything. I am very for this pattern book. I've lived here 48 years and waited a long time for something to happen in the town for the citizens. The lady that said that businesses other than the center of Main Street are not interested in it, it's not true. I forwarded a letter to you from Canal Cafe, which is on the edge of town, to say the least. It's right on the canal. And they think it's a great idea. On the other side, there's a beverage place. There are lots of businesses in town that are for this. There are also many, many residents that are for it. They just don't speak up. There's been a lot of banter, good and bad, about this, and people are afraid that it's going to be a high-rise development, which it's not, as I understand. It will be limited to 3 stories in some buildings just to vary the skyline. When people talk about you don't want to invade the park, I lived in New York City for 60 years. And our park was never invaded, yet we have roads through the park. They're closed at certain times. They're open at other times. I believe they were limited to truck traffic. I don't know that I saw a lot of trucks in the park, but I couldn't swear to it. But certainly these things can be regulated. It's not a reason to stop development. This has been stopped so many times. So many residents just would like to see this go forward. And I urge you to take an open approach and be in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Paul Wexler.
Hi, my name is Paul Wexler. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. I'm also on the board of directors of the Cormorant Point Homeowners Association, which represents about 35 plus homes on Cormorant Point. We have reviewed Mr. Cayola's plans. We enthusiastically support this whole revitalization of downtown. We think what has happened in West Hampton has been absolutely fabulous for West Hampton. We'd love to see something like this take place in Hampton Bays to just improve upon this wonderful community that we live in. So just wanted to give our vote of confidence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we want to move forward with it as soon as possible as well. So, you know, I'll appreciate everyone's comments, and we are listening to what you're saying. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard at this public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Arman with Urban Design Associates. We're architects and planners in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was in attendance in Hampton Bays at the Eastern Alliance meeting to provide information about what could happen in the downtown area. So as planning consultants to Crayola Real Estate, we really are encouraged that we're taking a step forward, hopefully, at the next meeting to adopt a pattern book for the downtown area. And certainly based on the comments that you've heard thus far, the revisions that you've incorporated are welcome and I think are going to be helpful So we recognize all the effort that you've put so far and hope that these comments that you hear today and any in the coming days will help guide you towards adoption as soon as you feel comfortable. We do recognize that the pattern book is not the be-all end-all, right? It's not the final zoning regulating document that will determine what can or cannot happen on these properties or any other in the downtown area. And so we want to call your attention to several locations or several sections of the pattern book where we think the prescriptive elements, the metrics, the dimensions, the specifics could potentially become in conflict or create confusion, both for the public and for property owners and developers to say, well, which is the rule that we follow? When we look at the maps and graphics, how hard and fast are they? When we look at the dimensions that are in the pattern book, are they different from what's in the zoning ordinance? Which is right? What are we supposed to do? And if, say, the zoning ordinance is silent on something, understand it, what the pattern book actually governs versus what it is overridden by. I submitted a letter earlier today to the clerk, I believe, that points out several of those locations in the pattern book. It gets to the prescriptive dimensions and elements, the metrics that I think you might want to consider finding a better home in the zoning ordinance. We understand that the village business area zoning district needs some improvement, I think, in order to spur the kinds of development and kinds of growth in the downtown that everyone seems to be asking for. So I'll direct you to those written comments so that you can walk through the document in your time in a few weeks and consider what changes may be necessary. Likewise, the feasibility studies, the graphics that one of the gentlemen earlier called your attention to, the maps and graphics showing one potential development of our client site. That is, there's one dimension of what could happen. I think we should be clear that that is not necessarily exactly what would be the future of the properties. That there's too much to go through to decide what is the best configuration, what are the best uses, how do we best design this in order to fit best with the community. So with that, I'll just keep my comments brief and ask that you stay with us and continue forward and lead us to the adoption of the pattern book and subsequent improvements. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody else on Zoom, Kevin? Okay, thank you. I do have one more card from Ray D'Angelo.
Thank you, Supervisor.
And Ray, you weren't here, but we did decide we're adjourning this till the 10th to provide the board with some additional time
Well,
to
that's what my
review.
comments were, that we want it delayed.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. You already got your first wish.
Has asked for more time. I'll just read it. HBC Board has asked for more time to review the pattern book as it is not some innocuous document. It can be used as a basis for a developer to go before an appointed board such as the Zoning Board of Appeals to circumvent the current zoning. You can't hear me? I'm surprised. The Hampton Bay Civic Association asked that the reference to multifamily housing greater than 2 stories and 35 feet and a good ground park access road as a vehicular road be removed from the pattern book. A quick review of the revised pattern book dated 8/23/24 still contains references to those items. I'd like to remind the board, I don't think anybody on this board was there, but Discovery Lands, they needed a supermajority for their development, and they didn't get it. So the board voted it down. And then it went to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and the magic of the Zoning Board of Appeals, they revived it and sent it to the Planning Board. And now we have under a different name, the Lewis Road Project, which, by the way, I understand is stopped. I don't know what's going on there. And it's right on top of our aquifer recharging area. So the Zoning Board of Appeals is not an innocuous board. It's a very powerful board. It issues judicial rulings, and actually, in some terms, it usurped your authority because it overruled the elected officials who voted against the Discovery Lands project. So the patent book is used, could be used by them to circumvent the zoning, and it's important. It's not in a knuckless publication. It's just not pretty pictures. It's a very serious business. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See Belia? Ray.
The neck, John, please don't move. Come on.
Okay, so I move to adjourn this public hearing to January 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
September.
Did I say January again?
Yeah, January you had.
I don't
I'm
know
not,
why.
I'm not ready to be older yet.
Hot enough here. Okay, do you get that?
No,
So it's adjourned to
yeah.
September 10th? Yes. All right, and did I say all in favor? I did.
No.
Okay. So, all right, so that brings us to the public portion. A lot of cards, so I want to
Aye.
remind everyone, please stick to the 3 minutes. Nope.
And-
All right,
and you
and I'll
don't have
say
to-
who's on deck so that we can keep people moving through because there's people in the other room that need time to come in. So first is Gail Murcott, and after her is Lynn Murcott.
Good evening. It's me again, Gail Marcotte. I'm president of the Hampton Groves Beach Association. I live in Hampton Bays and Hampton Groves. I'm here tonight to talk to you about Westwoods. The first thing that happened by the nation is to put up a billboard, a large billboard on Sunrise Highway. And everybody was like, oh no, you can't do that. That's not allowed. You didn't ask for any permission. There was no permits or anything else. You're not allowed. Well, it was up. So the second thing to do was to put up the second billboard on Sunrise Highway, because you got away with the first one. And now the nation has decided to clear all of over 10 acres of land in Westwoods. Cleared all the trees. 2 o'clock in the morning they started because somebody might stop them. Well, that didn't happen. So they cleared all the property that they wanted and everything to start their gas station. And nobody did anything to stop them. A week ago, they blacktopped the road right onto the town road, Newtown Road, and again, nobody stopped them. Then they came in with, last week, the town came in with this absolutely terrifying red sign that said, stop work order. Oh, they were horrified by that. Today the sign is gone, the wood is down, it might even be used for parts of the gas station, who knows. But the wood is laying there, the sign is gone, and they are continuing their work every morning. If they are allowed to continue to do whatever they want to do, then at some point, why is something not being done to stop them? It is up to the town, please. I don't mean this disrespectful, but it is up to the town to represent the people of this town, and it's not being done. There is nothing that is being done to stop this, at least until there's some sort of decision as to what can be done with the property, what's the history of the property, and can they in fact build anything at all. So we expect that one morning we are going to wake up and a 200-room hotel, casino, and convention center will be on the bluffs on Peconic Bay. Nothing that goes up ever comes down. All you do after that point is compromise or see what you can get to try to work together or live together. That's not the time for that, because I know, living right next to Westwoods, that my house will follow that. And I don't expect that that should happen. I expect that the town should represent us.
30 seconds.
The easiest way for you to do that is to get in there with your trucks. The town has lots of them. I will even lend my car and put it in front of those trucks, in front of that entrance, so that nobody enters that property until there are permits. It's been decided what could be done there. To not stop them at all and just put up a sign, to me, is ridiculous, and I don't think it's fair to the surrounding community. Thank you very much.
Okay, Lynn Marcotte and then Stephanie McNamara.
Hi, my name is Lynn Marcotte. We've been a resident, 5 generation in Hampton Bays, right next to the Westwood property. And, you know, a lot of times I hear about the burial grounds and everything. What about our burial grounds? My mother, father, sister, brother-in-law, everybody, my best friend, everybody's buried in our backyard. And this is, you know, this is something that's very sacred to us. We have everybody right there. And, you know, so, yes, I understand their burial grounds, but what about mine? Who's going to stop this from being destroyed? And, you know, I feel it's up to the town board. I know you guys are all new that we voted in, thank God, because the last town board dumped everything in Hampton Bays that they didn't want in the town of Southampton, which has plenty of property. But every bad thing gets dumped in Hampton Bays. And, you know, we're just a little bit tired of it, but we'd like the town board to help us through this project. If it turns out that the state and everybody determines that that is their sovereign land, well, then we can just move, do whatever we're going to do. But until that happens, this process should be stopped. Thank you very much.
And Stephanie Mac.
It's all mixed.
Oh, yeah.
It's public portion.
It's public. You can change the subject.
So you just speak in the order that you signed up.
Good evening, my name is Stephanie McNamara, and I'm a resident of Southampton.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. We are here tonight to request your help as our elected officials to find a solution to the problem of closing our beach for the months of June, July, and now almost all of August. We all respect the wildlife, and we understand the need to protect endangered species everywhere. We're here tonight to ask you, our town board, to work in collaboration with the Southampton Town Trustees and the trustees of the Village of Southampton to come up with solutions to protect our way of life here in our cherished community of Southampton. These are some of the recommendations I would like to see you handle as our elected representatives. Number 1, meet in collaboration with the DEC and Fish and Wildlife on our behalf to come up with a method of both protecting our rights and the wildlife so we can coexist on our beach as we have for generations. Number 2, stop making the entire stretch of our beach into a nursery beginning in February, March, and April to encourage nesting. Rather, let nature take its course. East Hampton is not required to do this, nor should we. This does not need to happen between Road F and Road G, or the county park for that matter. There are miles and miles of beach to the east where people can walk on the beach. Focus there. Number 3, hire enough staff to monitor the beach with movable fences once the clutch hatches, so as to allow for some, if not all, access, monitored on a daily basis, not just weekends. Budget for this accordingly with our tax dollars. Think outside the box and get students needing community service to assist with moving fences as needed. No doubt many of us in this room would volunteer to assist as well, myself included. Invest in and use movable mesh fence system to create safe zones from dune to shore. If access is limited to smaller areas, so be it, but don't take away the entire beach access for nearly the entire summer. Number 4, transparency is needed. We knew a clutch had been hatched around Memorial Day. 35 days later would have brought us to approximately the 4th of July access. Instead, it was weeks and weeks of sorry, access is closed due to activity. No daily updates, only weekends. While we don't need to know the exact locations of the clutches, have the courtesy to tell us there's one to the east of Road F, there's one to the west of Road G. Where are they? Just give us an idea. One of them hatched on this day, one of them hatched on that day, so that we at least have an idea of what to expect. We ended up with this because of no communication or frustration of losing the entire summer on our beloved beach, and we got 2 weeks out of the summer.
30 seconds.
If a closure needs to occur in a particular section, provide a shuttle at Road G as we did the first year, and again, budget for this with our tax dollars. Move the gate at Gary Max Way to the top of the entrance to allow for some parking on the trustee road, first come, first serve. This section is more walkable if we can park there. Road G is not walkable, it's too far. The gate at Road G could be moved up as well. begin the process with the DEC to obtain their allowable take permit as we were promised 5 years ago. We've been patiently waiting for this as it would allow us to again peacefully coexist with wildlife.
3
It
minutes.
has only just recently, about 3 weeks ago, come to my attention that this permit was never even applied for, and nobody told us anything about it. You need to spend the money to benefit our community. When this closure first began, the town went to the village to gain beach access for those of us with 4x4 permits. We were permitted to park at Row G lot as well as Agawam on the north side. The following 2 years, I had to go to the village and ask for a resolution to make sure that this happened. COVID hit, I understand, we had a problem, but it's time for you guys to work with everybody to make this happen for us. This is not our job to do this.
Oh, Stephanie tried to
Sorry,
correct.
I know, okay. Okay, that's all I really have, it's just
Stephanie,
those
you
my
can hand that in
suggestions.
if you
I'm sorry.
want. You can hand that in.
I
Your
have
notes,
copies
if
for all
you'd
of you,
like.
actually, thank you.
Thank
There's
you.
a cover
That'd be
page I
good.
skipped because I knew I was over my time.
Okay, next is
Thanks, Stephanie.
Francis Adamzeski and Peter Corman.
Hello, Francis.
Corman.
Good evening, William. My name is Francis Adamcheski. Everybody knows me as Fran, beach mayor at the picnic area. I've been fighting for years and years and years and years for all of us. First responders, firemen, ambulance, you name it. We're our community. Our community is at this beach. This beach has been taken away from us. I don't know how, but we want to have some kind of resolution to get our beach back. I mean, Stephanie, you hit the nail right on the head with all your points. Excellent. But something needs to be done. 2 weeks left in the summer, well, 1 week now, when we finally have our beach. We're all volunteers. We all are local residents that built this community. We're here year round. We look forward to this area. This is, everybody's there. That if you were outside, if you were there Sunday, it was amazing. Everybody was together. It was like one big family. One big family. And people were putting out barbecues. Come eat whatever you want. Come, join. Walking down the beach, they were asking anybody that was on the beach, you want food, need something to drink? Come, join us. There was local people that lived right down the road, sitting right next to me on Sunday. And they were asking me, you know, wow, this is taking this long? I'm surprised. And I'm like, well, I've been trying and trying and trying to get this beach open. Something needs to be done. We need help. We're just asking for help, for everybody to work together, the trustees, the town, the village. I'm gonna go to the village next after this and ask them if they can help somehow. We need this beach back. This is what we live for. That's like, I can't even describe how I feel right now. I'm so emotional about this place. And not to be there with everyone. I mean, last week was amazing. Last Sunday was amazing. I finally was there like the first time with everybody. And it was great. Kids swimming in the water. People that can barely walk were down there because they can't get to the beach without driving onto the beach. Mothers with their kids driving onto the beach, lugging all the toys and the chairs and umbrellas and the coolers. It's hard for people that, you know, some people need this beach. And this is our beach. This is our local beach. And it's been taken away from us. I mean, we just want some help to get our beach, our home, my church. It's my church. I call it my church.
30 seconds.
Thank God. You know, after working all week long and then finally get to go down there and sit down there and relax. Lately, it hasn't, because everybody walks up, Fran, we gotta do something, we gotta do something, we gotta, and it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. I know there's, you know, stuff going on in the town, but this is our beach, local beach. All of us are residents. We we love this beach. And to have 2 weeks of it for the summer, it's ridiculous. Something needs to be done. We're just asking for help. We just want our beach back. We want to go and enjoy our spot. This is where we go.
3 minutes.
This is our heaven.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fran, thank you so much for coming up and talking about some of the work that you've done, and about how you feel about this particular issue, because I think that's really important for us to hear as we look at what we can do. But you and Stephanie mentioned about not having access. Can you just explain what kind of, are you being prohibited from actually accessing the beach in general, or just by means of vehicular access?
Well, vehicle access.
Okay.
But even walking on, there's not very much area you could really go because it's fenced off.
All the fencing.
Yeah, it's a long way to walk. And people that, like I said, there's people that can't really walk to the beach.
Right.
And people with kids and bringing the stuff, you can't leave your kid in the car and then bring your stuff down to the beach and go get your kids out of the car because you get arrested. But it's we just need help. This is our beach. This is our heaven, our piece of the pie. And that's all we want. We can coexist with the birds we have before, and we still will.
Thank you. I thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
Okay, Peter's up, and then after Peter, Gail Lombardi.
Hello, my name is Peter Chorman. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. Just spent 46 years in the design, construction, development business in New York. I'm a registered architect in New York, and I just retired just a few months ago. And it's honestly, it's great not wearing a suit every day and doing the commute into the city and all. So I set up at my house. 4 years ago, purchased a flag lot on Quail Run, 11 Quail Run, with a nice, pristine woods in the backyard, the deer and the birds, and my zen place to go to where I could live out the rest of my life and enjoy it. However, right now the construction has started. The distance from my property to the construction is 30 feet, okay, which is where you're sitting to that back wall. Okay, just that's 30 feet right there. This morning I had an interesting experience. I got out of my shower, went to reach for my towel, and I had a bulldozer right there. I was quick enough to grab my phone and do a little video to see the look of surprise on his face. I didn't get my face, but it was an interesting moment to see that. The roadway, the noise, I now hear from 27, about a half mile away, comes all the way down the road because there's this wide 100-foot alley with a sound. We used to have trees all the way, and I can see Newtown Road traffic going by constantly. During the construction, and being in the construction business, I'm very familiar with the mitigations of noise, dust. My cars are covered with dust, vibration. The dishes on the shelves are rattling from the vibratory hammers that they're using to compact the soil underneath the roadway. It's very invasive. Being an architect, I always look at the zoning resolution, and I usually read the preambles, and in this case, the chapter 330, the general provisions and declaration of purposes, and there's 13 purposes that the town is, their mission, and the words throughout each of them include protect, promote, prevent bad things from happening, and all in the interest of the public. And I don't think any of those items, if you run down the list, there's no action to stop what's happening to protect those things. Granted, I'm not going to fight about ownership of the property and rights and all, but what happens on that property has to stay on that property. It should not come onto my property. I have rights in my property, quiet enjoyment of my property, and that is being infringed upon. I have witnesses in my career when stop work orders have been issued that the governing agencies actually provide police, and people go out in handcuffs if they don't comply. I understand things are different here, but the stronger action, I believe, should be taken. Quick thing, just I've been on zoning boards, architecture review committees, and all, and everybody in my entire career has always sent out notices, usually by certified mail, all the surrounding members, a diagram, a site plan is created, each of the properties are listed with the
3
owners,
minutes.
and certified notices go out. So we've been no communication to us, and we request that you take some form of action, and whatever jurisdiction, as I said, happens on the property, you can have that debate, but I should be protected. We also have issues for services, the police department, ambulance, fire department, and all. Who's gonna take care of things that may occur on that place, and who's gonna fund that? The taxpayers that are already paying taxes, and the people that are not paying taxes. How does that all work? So, thank you.
Thank you. So Gail is up next, and after Gail is Jeremy Ramp.
Okay, so I submitted the letter to Sunday that I submitted to the town board, and it's as an individual, not as part of any group. I am really disappointed in the town board regarding this issue. I try to be objective, but if you look back, and I'm trying to go through my notes quickly, not to take up too much of your time. This isn't isolated. This is kind of what has happened. But for the residents speaking up, we would have had the best on the canal site. We would have had the Bel Air on an environmentally fragile site. We would have hundreds of apartments in the downtown, which we may still end up with. We have a sewage treatment plant in the by the cemetery in Good Ground Park. So I'm not directly affected by this, but I will be. All of Squiretown Road, for them to get to Newtown Road, they're going to have to go along Squiretown Road. So everybody on Squiretown Road, and if we put in a new road in Good Ground Park, good luck with that. We're going to all be affected by it. All of Hampton Bays is going to be affected by it. And I really feel like you all have turned a blind eye to the as that gentleman said, to the property that you're responsible for protecting. And the case law, I realize, I do my what was I called? I get my Google my license from Google, but I'll keep my snarky comments about that to myself. I looked at the case law. I understand why it is, in controversy. However, if you do look at the 2007 case, which I put into my letter to you, they reference and I'm not even reading my notes, it's going off the top of my head. They reference a U.S. Supreme Court case that's been cited in 300 cases. And while it was about the casino, and while it was specific about the casino, it went on and on to say that the documents that the town at that time presented to the Supreme Court was clear that this would have a material adverse effect on the town of Southampton government, Suffolk County government, and the life of the people of the town of Southampton. That fact pattern, that information still holds. And look forward, 14 years? Am I doing the math right? 14 years? No, 17 years. From 2007 I was an accountant, right? To 2024, the traffic is worse. The congestion is worse. Our water supply is in jeopardy. I mean, there's so many things that are worse 17 years. And you were like, it's sovereign land. No, you're responsible to protect us, all of us. And on top of it, at all levels of government. So you want home rule, right? You always talk home rule. So you want home rule. Well, take the home rule, go to all the agencies, and come in front of all the people that are directly adversely affected, like the Murcocks and that gentleman. My heart breaks for them. And I'm begging you to put all this together, come before us, tell us exactly what your action items are. How are you going to handle it? It's not fair to them, and it's eventually not going to be fair to all Hampton Bays. Thank you.
Okay, after Jeremy, it's Donna Kreinborg.
Good evening, Southampton Town Board. Thank you for having me. My name is Jeremy Random from Flanders. I'm a veteran, business owner, and a father of 2 beautiful kids. I am here to speak to you and ask you for help to save our beloved beach. When we think of Southampton, we would never think to leave out the North Sea Carnival, the 4th of July Parade. We would never think to leave out some of the great traditions that run this town and that we look forward to every year. Our beach is in jeopardy. Every single year, the date gets longer and longer before we're allowed on our beach. Our trustees are hardworking men, but I just don't think they see it the way we see it, and how much fight and how much love we have for that beach. We are organized. We are one voice. We are a family. and we are never, ever, ever coming off of that beach. We're going to fight for it as hard as you could possibly think of. And I'm fighting for police officers, firemen, EMTs, first responders, all volunteers that make this place great. And it's not just the driving the truck on the beach. You know, it's more of a way of life in Southampton. There's certain things that you just wouldn't change about this great town. And I know you're new, and I want to welcome you. And I want you to welcome down to the picnic area this Sunday and come down and see this beautiful family that is so precious to all of us. You don't understand what this summer did to us. It was like the sand that broke the seagull's back. We were done. August 13th, 2 weeks of summer, and to be honest with you, we already lost one weekend to some crappy weather, and we had one glorious one. This weekend doesn't look good either, and to sit here and to think we're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 Sundays, it's just not going to happen. We're afraid that this same date is going to be next year, and the next year after that. You know, I have 2 beautiful kids. I want my kids to take their kids to the same beach and drive their truck on that beach. I want them to enjoy that. You have to understand something. It's just the people and the community that we live in that we are protecting. We're not protecting anything else. It's we the people. It's not we the bird, okay? It's we the people. We'll live with that bird. We'll put a cage up. We will protect that bird. You should see how beautiful that beach looks after we leave. I've seen Cooper's Beach after a Sunday and a Monday before the awesome hard-working village workers get there and pick up 4 things of trash from Citarellas because people don't want to take their garbage home. Never happened at Road G, Gary Mason Way, or Jim Area. Never. We police our own stuff, our own people. We tell people to slow down. If somebody's violating the dunes, we're on it. Me and Franny were walking that beach. We were putting out flyers. We're organized. We have a Facebook page where this protest today made me so proud. I've been fighting this beach since I was a little boy. I've been fighting for the rights to drive down there since it was dirt road from basically Halsey Neck all the way down. Dirt road. Lock the hubs. Let the air out, son. Let's go. Bump, 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 bump. Here we go. So I'm here to tell you we need your help. We need you to call the Tops at DEC, the Tops at Fish and Wildlife. Get the trustees on board. Everybody in one little group because you know what? It'll be just like us at that beach because we're all one group, one family. You got to fight for us. We're fighting for you every single day. Those cops go to work. The EMT, the 911 operators, they're going to work. You know, some of these guys work 6 days a week. It's their only day. We pray for good weather. And like Franny said, Sunday was heaven. It was heaven. I was like a fat seagull at the end of the day. I went from campsite to campsite, truck to truck, and I got fed. I was sleeping by 6:30. But please come down. I invite all of you down there. See what it's like before you stand and fight for us. Come see what it's like. I guarantee you, when you leave there, you're going to be like, "Wow, I see why these people are here. I see why they're here at 5 o'clock. I see why they're going to the trustees meetings." You know, I got a feeling that, you know, this board and the trustees aren't in harmony. Y'all got to get in harmony because we are. We're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
After Donna is Eileen McPhailin.
Okay, before I speak, thank you for allowing me the opportunity. I wanted to know if it was okay. I do have a letter that was sent to me, and unfortunately, Kristen White couldn't be here, so may I read this into the record on her behalf?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Kristen White. I am a multi-generational, full-time resident of Southampton. My husband is a past chief and an active member of North Sea Fire Department, and he is an employee of the Town of Southampton Public Works Sector. I have been a Little League coach, middle school coach, part of the Hamptons volunteer, supporter, Kiwanis volunteer, and worked with Maureen's Haven. I have been Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts of America leader, secretary of Southampton Fire District, and SABA. I am a member of the North Sea Community Association, a community member of the Watermill Community Club, and have been a deacon, an elder, and currently a trustee of the First Presbyterian Church. I shop at Herrick's, Hildreth, Fowler's, South 50, Dunkley's, Catina's, and North Sea Hardware. I tell you all this not for accolades, but to weave you the tapestry of the hard-working men and women before you. We are the community of Southampton. We are what created the traditions, the spirit, the landscape that made this such a desirable place to be. The board speaks often of the community they represent, the importance of appreciation of our volunteers. They make claims and promises, but we can all tell you It's continuing to get more and more difficult for working class families to survive out here. And for many, that is exactly what it is, barely surviving. So I am asking you to ask yourselves, what can you do to please help, please keep these people here? What can you do to keep this community and our traditions alive? Thank you, Kristen White.
Donna, you forgot one thing. I think she's a descendant from Captain White.
I'm sorry?
She's a descendant from Captain White.
She may have, she might have left it out of her
She did.
letter. So I didn't want to put any words in her mouth because I have plenty on my own.
Yeah.
I want to agree with everybody that has spoken, and I'm not going to sit here and reiterate. But I would love to give a round of applause for every single volunteer firefighter, police officer, EMT, ambulance, highway department. You name it, these people work 365 days a year. We get 20 Sundays at best. We used to. I raised 5 children. I hear the word, you're lazy, you can't get to the water. You're lazy, why can't you go like everybody else? No, it's because I bring 5 children to park my truck at 7 in the morning. I set up and I stay for sunrise to sunset. My children get to see myself and my husband on Sundays because of his work and because of my workload. Most recently now, my children are a teenage and adult years. I spent the day this past Sunday with my 21-year-old son and said, Mom, it's been 10 years since we've been able to do this, and we played some football. Now, I suffered an injury, so I no longer can walk in the deep sand. I am so grateful that I got in that truck, and we sat up, and when Jeremy tells you you eat, you can have, there's more restaurants down there out of the back of pickups, the best cooks you'll ever meet in your life, and I welcome you to join them. Everybody helps one another. There's toddlers to 21-year-olds. It's all family. And it's beautiful because it's the one day of the week where we can take a deep breath and say, this is our time. And this beach is being stripped from us. So I beg you, I implore you to work with the trustees. Let's protect. We will protect the plover. We are the ones that want. Let's find out who's killing these foxes. That should be something on the top of the list. How dare they? We protect and respect that beach. It was pristine at 6 a.m. and it was pristine when we left it. But we did the cleanup. We didn't leave it for somebody else to clean up after us. So I realize I'm probably over my time, but I thank you for listening. And I also, when it comes to communication, I always think teamwork is good. And I do watch a lot of these. So if we can come together a little bit more as a board and appreciate what all of you bring to the table, it would go a long way. Thank you and have a good day.
Thanks, Donna.
Thanks, Donna. After Eileen, it's Michael Mafia.
Eileen McFarland, Hampton Bays. Thank you very much for the AC working so well today. The microphone system has not been upgraded yet. That's disappointing.
We're trying.
Hope so. I'm disappointed that I need to be present to talk about a new issue that I have not seen nor heard the town board or any other board or town employees offer information on the plans that the Shinnecock tribe has started to implement in Hampton Bays, and will it be stopped at this time? Because it needs to be, and cannot resume until a legal plan and agreement has been made between the tribe, the residents of Hampton Bays, and the town boards and planning committee. It is very unsettling that after the Kiola property development plan, the Bel Air situation, and the Best situation, that it has not been made very clear that the residents of Hampton Bays do not appreciate nor accept having to forcibly accept a plan that the majority of the residents and the business owners, some not all, do not agree with. I have a thought for you. The people that bought those homes on off Newtown, they all had to apply and be granted permits to build whatever's going on there. How is it that their property is allowed to be destroyed by someone who doesn't have a permit to do that? You've got to fight on your hands, and it would be great if there could be more communication between all of us and come to a resolution, because I'm afraid to say this is going to get very ugly. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so Michael is not here, Mathia. Next is Carol McNeil, and after Carol, Lori Verdesky.
Good evening, members of Southampton Board and those present. My name is Carol McNeil, and I am a resident of Hampton Bays and own property that borders the Westwood property, being claimed and decimated by the Shinnecock Nation. What has been called good ground for so long by the Shinnecock Nation and the community alike has been turned into bad ground. In February of this year, a wide path of trees were brutally taken down with bulldozers at 2 a.m. in the morning. The town was notified by the residents and when met with, "We can't do anything." The town had no idea this was happening. The nation then came forward as a courtesy to the local civic groups and the town board to show their plans. The nation said they are doing this to create revenue for their children and elderly. Can someone explain to me why the town, county, state, or federal government couldn't find a better plan to help them? Putting a 30-pump gas station not far from the sensitive waters of the Peconic Bay and in a residential area is not the place for it. It is a wrong type of development in the wrong place and a danger to the environment, community, and so much more. I have been sending you almost daily updates as to the progress of this mutilation. I've been met with, "We're waiting for the state to decide the monument issue to act." Well, that is not good enough. The actions of the tribe are speaking even louder than their words. We are going to build it. They in fact have given no site plans showing the sewer plant location, construction of the holding tanks and placement, obtained EPA or DEC approval, and have not had any town or state inspections. There has been no oversight or input from any government entity. This is a dangerous situation. I'm concerned for my safety on so many levels. The nation has stated that they would like the community to help them get direct access to Sunrise Highway. Well, I pray that never happens. It would mean continued access to the land for further inappropriate development, again, without oversight. The town needs to take action now, and under no circumstances should access ever be given to Sunrise Highway. My personal experience has been devastating. My house shakes on a daily basis from the mountains of dirt being moved and pounded down. The noise is continuous. Dust invades my personal property. My heart reacts when I sit to have lunch. I feel this. To the continued vibration, I find it difficult to remain in my home and on my property. I have to leave daily.
30 seconds.
Many people in Hampton Bays still have no idea what is happening at Westwoods or are aware of the devastating effects if the nation continues with this phase 1 of their plan and moves on to the other phases. The feeling is that the state and town officials have turned a blind eye to the current development. When will you step up and put resources to saving our way of life in Hampton Bays and stop this good ground from being turned into bad ground? You know, I couldn't even stay at my house today. Again, I look out my window, directly in front of me is the pounder pounding the dirt. They're so efficient. They take 2 big dump trucks of dirt constantly, all day. This has been going on for weeks. They are moving dirt constantly with bulldozers. My house vibrates. Some people have cracks in their house. And you know what? I have been in contact, and I appreciate your responses, but I have been in daily with all of you here and the code enforcement. And you know what? I started getting in touch with Mr. Iselli in particular since February, asking the same questions.
Carol, you gotta finish up, please.
Yes, I know, and I get the same answer. There's really nothing that is being done at this time.
But you just, Ms. McNeil, you did mention my name, so I do want to say it's not that nothing is being done, right? We are working with our town attorney's office, and we are trying to work with our partners at the state level We have received very little on the federal side, and we are consulting with our attorneys on this because of the fact that that parcel is owned by the Shinnecock Nation. So we are taking your concerns, and as you know, I've emailed you. Whenever you email me, I get back to you.
Yes,
And I because you are a resident, you are a constituent. That's what my job is to respond to you and try to see what we can do. And I have been doing my best to try to work with our partners in the town and also in other aspects.
And
But
I do
it is
respect
difficult.
that. I also know you're in an awkward position.
Yeah.
But I had to voice. I'm dealing with it every day.
Sure.
I can't even stay in my home. I already made plans to go away for the next few days because I can't stand it.
Okay, Lori is up, and after Lori, it's what's happening? Manuel De La Cruz is going to be up after Lori. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay. I can understand.
Oh, could you state your name just for the
Lori
record?
Verdeschi. I can understand that taking action or a stance regarding what's happening at Westwoods currently is not something that you probably relish doing. There are practical and political minefields all over the place. It is a huge issue. It's so much bigger than this town and this event. I think we can all understand where the Shinnecock Nation is coming from when they resist being told what to do and how to do it. There's a lot of history, and within that history, they have clearly been horrifically abused many times. But what we're talking about here is new abuse that's supposed to be maybe some kind of solution for old abuse. And I just don't think that that works very well. But I can understand how you'd be hesitant to, I can understand the feeling of being hesitant to jump into the fray, but we need you to do that. We need you to jump in. These are, the Shinnecock Nation has stated that they intend to do as they wish on their property. They've been very clear. They have, sometimes people say they haven't communicated. They've communicated. They've said, this is what we're doing. We're doing it. This is what we're doing. You know, they're not pretending that they're not doing it. The reality is, though, that what they do on their property affects people, affects the property of other people. And anyone in my neighborhood is subject to a really lot of rules when they want to do any kind of construction. People pay expediters just to deal with the rules and regulations of the town of Southampton. And those rules and regulations are there to protect people. I assume it's not done just to harass people, it's to protect people. So what I'm suggesting is that the Shinnecock Nation be held to standards where we are protected as well, that you hold them to standards that protect us as well. Sometimes I get the feeling that there's kind of collective guilt about the Indian Nation and Native Americans in general. And there should be. There should be collective guilt. There should be collective guilt about a lot of things. I'm a woman. For goodness sakes, people have been abused. This is not new. And I'm not expecting, I can't go to the town board and say, I'm a woman. I don't have to really follow these rules because, I was never expected to do that. So my point, and I'm sorry, again, this is a way bigger issue than all of you. And I do have sympathy for you having to deal with it, but please deal with it. I don't want our community to be the sacrificial lamb for collective guilt. I appreciate the guilt. I don't appreciate being the lamb. Please do something about this. Thank you.
Okay, so after Manuel is Seamus Ward.
Good evening. My name is Manuel De La Cruz. I've been a resident of Southampton for like the past 31 years. I own a business on East Walk and it's in regards of no parking signs in front of my business. For 19 years, I have been there, and 2 years ago, all of a sudden, we got no parking signs for no reason, and that is affecting my business big time. So I'm asking you to please, if there is any way to address this issue with these no parking signs. There hasn't been any incident at all, so I don't see why was the need for the signs to come up. I agree, like in the front of the store, it needs to be one, but that's not the only one that I think it should be there. So I'm asking you if you help and see what can be done. Because like I said, for the past 19 years, nothing has happened. For 17 years, there was no issues. People coming, parking in the front, walking into the store, and it can be on like that. So please help us out, or help me out.
And well, what we were told, or what I was told, was that a couple of years ago it was the county that came in and said there were some issues, and they thought for safety's sake they wanted to change the parking. But Councilwoman McNamara did bring it to our attention, that now there's issues created from that. So we're just wanted to make sure that the county is okay with reverting it back when they're the ones that told us to put it there in the first place.
If there is anything that is in your power to do, I really appreciate it. Like I said, there's a lot of things that can be done. You can restrict the speed limit. I'm within the town of East Quogue. So in the middle of East Quogue, there are stores and they park on right and left, and nothing happens. So, and that's all I think because of the speed limit, and that is something that can be done. I don't know if it's something that you guys can be done, but by limiting the speed limit on the road, I think that would be a big thing. I know it's a county issue, but if there is anything in your power, I really appreciate it.
I made clear to you that I won't put the restrictions in place in front of the store until we have a resolution and can move it back across the street, because I don't think it's fair to restrict parking on both sides. I am meeting with the county. We are trying to work through it. We did lower the speed limit there. They did lower the speed limit there to 30. But I don't think they understand the issue, and without them being there, they don't drive there every day, so they don't know what we see every day.
Are they going to come out and look?
I'm having Alex Prego come out and take
great.
a walk with it. So I'm actually gonna withdraw this today and leave it as is until we can come to some decision on getting you parking at least back across the street.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Manny.
Okay, so Seamus Ward, and after Seamus is Roger Morris.
Seamus would like to postpone his comments.
All right.
The Westwood is too urgent to bring up another subject.
Okay, then Roger Morris, and after Roger is Diane Adams.
Yes, good evening. I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to speak. I consider it a wonderful privilege. I'd like to talk about fear and confusion at Westwoods. The nation is understandably tired from past improprieties. I wish it had been different. However, presently, their endorsement is now, our time has come, period. Come hell or high water, my words. This spring at the sushi restaurant in Southampton, Fred Thiel, our senator, said, "There is no position on Westwoods by the state," unquote. Think about that for a minute. Can you inform us as to any of the facts or transcripts that seem to have changed the senator's comment since this meeting in the spring? Several of you were there. I sat at the same table with Mr. Pell. What changed, as well as the undeniable history that has been dismissed on this general issue? As we know in America, no persons are above the law in our democracy. And I then say, where is the tooth of our elected governing bodies when some of our residents are not following the letter of the law? We in Hampton Bays have been the recipients of no conversation, excellent promises, and lip service with no proof offered by parties that have demonstrated a disregard for cease and desist. What is next? It will be too late. Please help us. Thank you for listening.
After Diana, it's Dan. Oh, Dan McNamara.
Good evening. My name is Diana Adams, and I live in Hampton Bays on Newtown Road. And tonight I'm going to relay the message of a letter sent last week by a group of concerned citizens numbering approximately 300 called Friends for Peconic Preservation. I've shortened the letter for the context and in order to fit within 3 minutes. So we are writing to express deep concern about the timing of the gas station development in Westwoods and its irreversible impact. Our concerns include environmental. The Shinnecock Nation leadership have said that they've completed an environmental review, but we failed to see any evidence of this. Stormwater runoff, an increase in sanitary waste, gas or oil spills that are invariably come from a filling station will all have irreversible impacts on the bay and surrounding ecosystem, which is already under stress. Traffic. There's outstanding litigation that we've already heard about tonight about the monuments on Sunrise Highway, and therefore there's no cuts from Sunrise Highway currently underway. And so in order to access this facility, they plan on using a small neighborhood residential 2-lane road. No traffic study has been done. We raised questions about safety, but some of my fellow residents have already mentioned that, so I'm going to skip that for now. Economic. The gas station will need water, power, fire, and safety services. Has the cost to the town been evaluated? Has there been a plan to pay for the costs? The Shinnecock chairwoman is both leading the gas station, and I will say now ignoring the town's stop work order, and she is the town's sole assessor responsible for property taxes. Isn't this a conflict of interest? We ask that you move immediately to limit access to Newtown Road by either closing the road on the west side of Westwoods or eliminating commercial traffic. This would be pending a traffic study that allows all involved to understand the impact of opening the gas station. Thank you.
Diane, would you like to hand that in?
I sent the letter earlier today.
Okay.
But I'll also have a copy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So after Dan is Karen Murcott.
Boy, did it get hot in here?
Okay, after Dan's going to be Joe Piazza.
Okay. Hey. Hello, board. My name is Dan McNamara. Full disclosure, Councilwoman Cindy McNamara is my wife, and I am her acting head of security and acting head of sign installation and management. Anyway, outside tonight and in this room, you're seeing a lot of my friends, the backbone of Southampton town. We are teachers, builders, landscapers, mechanics, highway workers, Southampton town and Southampton village employees, the workforce of our town. We work long, hard hours to live here where most of us were born and raised. A lot of us don't dare plan vacations in the summer due to our work obligations. We cook our own food, clean our own houses, mow our own grass, work on our own cars, we shovel kids around. We raise our own kids and all the while working full-time jobs just to make ends meet. Many here are also volunteers as first responders with all the training work and sacrifices that involves. We all live here year round, yet due to everything I just mentioned, it happens I rarely get to see my friends. However, there is one place I know I can go without fail and see familiar faces, eat like a king, relax with family and friends. That's the picnic area. This past Sunday, Councilwoman McNamara and I went to the beach for the first time this year because of the plover regulations. And boy, it was glorious. It was one heck of a day down there. It was the softest sand, flat surf, sun was shining, food cooking, kids playing, people laughing, whales breaching everywhere, and the cherry on top was I had my friends from one end of the beach to the other. The North Sea Fire Department, Southampton Fire Department families were having barbecues. Families from grandmas to grandbabies all together. I joined Jimmy Airy and his family for the day. We cooked up barbecue that you won't find in restaurants around town, like Jimmy's double grilled clams and butter sauce. Anyway, we left around sunset. I was saying goodbye to Jimmy and we both agreed it was a phenomenal day. I thought it was sort of ironic that Jimmy, the son of Jimmy Airy, Sr., whose name is on one access road, and myself, the nephew of Gary Mack, whose name is on the other access road, had such an amazing day together 2 days before this meeting. Both of those men were smiling down on us on Sunday. Sadly, it may be the only Sunday we spend on the beach this year due to the shortened season, weather, and schedules. So anyway, the 30-year-old Fish and Wildlife suggested plover management document, in my opinion, needs to be changed, amended. It should be rewritten to account for people, tradition, and hardships it creates. It should be adjusted in a way that allows us to coexist. I am asking the Southampton Town Board, town trustees, village trustees, county, state, federal officials to put politics of any part aside and advocate for us, the people of Southampton Town. To change the management of this program to help save a truly threatened and endangered species, the Southampton Town Local and its volunteers. If something doesn't change, it may be the final nail in the coffin for a lot of people. I can't tell you how many times I have personally said and heard, if it wasn't for family, friends, and our beach, I would be out of here. Please help in any way you can help my friends from leaving. This town's shine gets a little dimmer every time one leaves. Thank you very much. If I could just add, I know because of my relationship with Cindy, please don't anyone take me as a personal hit job on anybody, any party, anything. I am here to represent myself, and I appreciate my wife letting me do so. Thank you.
Oh, you guys,
Okay,
thank you very
so-
much for letting me speak.
Joe, just a second, I just want to say, after Joe Piazza is finished, Adam Ortiz is on deck.
So I'm Joe Piazza, born and raised local around here for 40 years. I actually grew up with 6 kids in my family from my 2 parents, who both were business owners and hard workers, and raised through Southampton School District. See a guy in the crowd here with an actual Mariner hat. Southampton, we're Mariners, and the one biggest thing that we're all raised around here is that salt water and that sand. That's all part of our blood. You know, that access to the beach, that picnic area, is a game changer. It makes the beach all-inclusive. It makes it so that if you are rich, poor, or anything disabled, you can still get down there and enjoy a beach with your family. My parents brought me and our 6 kids, my 5 brothers and sisters down there all the time. Same thing, community on the beach, barbecues, friends, family, every single one of us look out for each other. You never feel more part of a small town than when you're down at that beach. It's amazing. It really is. Me and my wife have now been married for 15 years and actually finally had a child after trying for 15 years to raise them in this same tradition because it means so much to us. And
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You know, it means so much to us for down there. My father and my mother, as they got older, my mother having walking issues, my father having heart disease, was still able to come down with us to the beach and actually be able to enjoy that family time on Sunday. When his 6 kids worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week every single day, you know, every week of the year trying to make ends meet, to stay out here and support out here and live their life out here. And every single one of us do that because we just love this town. You know, that's really the biggest meaning. That beach on Sunday is the epitome of a small town. I've had other people come from small towns around the state until they've come and seen our small town and went, wow, this really is a small town. I probably know 95% of the people in this building. There's not really many other town board meetings that you're going to go to that you could say something like that. You know, we're really asking for help. We're not trying to come at anybody, you know, with aggression or violence. We just are throwing ourselves on the board and saying we need something done. Apologize, I'm getting over colds. You know, this has been something that's kind of been going on for years. It's been getting worse and worse and worse. And we're all for the environmental aspect of it. We're all willing to help. These guys walk the beach. We live the surf. We've been out here our whole entire life. That beach at 5 in the morning is probably not as clean as it is at 7 o'clock at night when we all leave. I've seen countless guys rake the beach when they park, put the stuff in their truck, take it home to their house and put it away. You know, that's something that should be respected out here, you know, and there should be a way that we can all figure out to coexist.
30 seconds.
We don't hate the birds. We love the birds. We love the wildlife. We want to hang out with them. That's our biggest thing, you know. So I just want to say, you know, we really hope that everybody can kind of come together and we can figure something out to make this more inclusive for everybody, because, I mean, that really does make it an all-inclusive place for everybody. Doesn't matter what your pay scale is. Doesn't matter what your health is. Everybody can go down there and be part of a community. You know, I'm a volunteer firefighter. Most of my friends are service members and things like that. And I will tell you what, we're actually saving the town and the village money because you don't need lifeguards down on that beach. You got 3 dive teams all the time down there. You got certified people that are BLS, ALS, everything possible. And I will be honest, Ocean Rescue, I'll be honest, I've actually seen a child get swept into that beach by a parent that wasn't paying attention. And that girl was actually out of the water before she even knew she was in the water. And her mother didn't even know what happened until the girl ran over to her soaking wet, crying. And mom said, "What happened?" And she said, "I don't know." Because she literally got washed in. Everybody washed each other. They scooped her right out and saved her. I mean, that's the epitome of the small town. We don't want to lose this.
Thank you.
You know, thank you guys very much.
After Adam, it's Shannon Bradley.
I definitely got to go visit that beach. It sounds like fun down.
Come on down. Welcome back.
Adam Ortiz, Hampton Bays. I came last month and kind of tried to bring in the introduction of assessments, reassessments within Southampton Town. As the month has passed by and as we've introduced it to the Civic, I am a board member of the Civic. We are officially looking at this and we're hoping that the town board also takes it as important as we have taken it. The move to use full market value for assessments was last completed in the year 2004 for the town of Southampton. In doing so, Southampton Town spent $1.9 million to have an outside consultant company to conduct the inventory and appraisals necessary to complete a full market townwide reassessment according to an October 11, 2022 article in the Southampton Press. Added to this was the fact that it took 2 years to complete the work. In the same article, the town board agreed to postpone any reassessment to 2025, but townwide reassessment. But nothing has started within the nothing has started within the assessor's office. The board in 2022 reached a consensus to hire more staff as consultants instead of an outside company to begin gathering inventory and appraisal information. Again, we see nothing has started. An August 2016 Southampton Press article quotes the current Southampton Town Assessor to reassess the estimated 3,000 commercial properties in Southampton Town for taxing purposes. Unlike with residential properties, which are taxed based solely on property's value, commercial property taxes are levied based on a combination of financial factors, including rental income. The last such assessment on commercial properties in this town was completed in 2009. It is fair to say that most of the town's data is now outdated, which Lisa Gorey, your current assessor, was quoted as saying in 2016. That makes 15 years of all 3,000 commercial properties in Southampton Town seeing no changes in taxes. I would guess that the base that was created in 2009 is what's being carried over. And I would think the last 15 years, commercial properties are making more than a couple bucks. So I asked, and this is not against commercial properties, this is all about equality. So I asked my town board, what's the plan? Have board members deeply discussed the issue as to how best to explain this process to residents? If my assessed value of my home only represents 63% of true value, which was stated by Lisa Gori right now.
30 seconds.
What does that exactly mean? Honestly, I know what that means, but do our Southampton residents understand what that means? The town of Southampton has been an active participant in New York State's cyclical assessment program under the Real Property Tax Law 1573, conducting a reassessment of all properties at 100% market value on an annual basis from 2004 through 2018. Municipalities that commit to revalue properties at least once every 4 years are eligible to receive a grant of $5 per parcel or a maximum of $500,000. I repeat, we can grab $500,000 if we go toward full market assessment. The Southampton town is still participating in this program. How do we get from 63% to 100%? How do we plan to explain to our residents that assessed value may almost double, but not to worry, it's only a number that might not affect your taxes? So, just have a couple suggestions. I know that my time is up. The town board should make sure that monies for the next 3 years are set aside for each budget to prepare for a town-wide assessment. Again, it was $1.9 million over 15, probably 20 years ago. As stated by a town assessor, you can't just start a total reassessment. It takes about 3 years to fully prepare and implement. It cost $1.9 in 2004. Will Southampton Town hire more workers or temporary workers in the assessor's office to complete its job in-house, thereby saving some money, or will the town hire an outside firm to assist, just like it did in 2004?
How long has he been?
4
As
minutes.
a resident, thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We have a lot of stack. Can you hand that in? And we'll
Oh, I
read
can hand it in. I guess at
Because
the end.
excuse me. We want to get respected just like you get respected.
Oh,
We
sure.
have hundreds of people here who want to talk.
Oh, sure.
Okay? I'm
No
asking you
problem.
very nicely to hand that in so we can get someone else a chance to talk.
Oh, I got that point. My last comment is let's treat commercial properties and residential properties fairly. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
All right, so next is Shannon Bradley. And after Shannon, it's Leo, it looks like Sommer. Okay, so then Tom Garber will speak after Shannon. Tom Garber.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Shannon Bradley. I'm a resident, born and raised here in Southampton. I was going to use my time to give the same points of how important it is to us residents to have beach access. But I think that you guys, that point's already been presented in a great way by friends and family. I just wanted to find out what actions you can give us to take, how we can be productive together, work together, and put our trust in you to represent us in hearing what we said tonight and keeping and giving us beach access. Every year it's limited by pedestrian and vehicular. I know you had asked a question earlier if it was just vehicular. It's not. More and more beach is being denied to us. Our families and the traditions that were mentioned, they go back. Since before I was born, my family actually, we own some of the beach. We actually gave it to you, the town. So seeing over the years, seeing us lose the ability to pass the tradition on or be able to share this with our families and know that my children or my children's children aren't going to be able to do this, because seeing the pattern of how much we're losing each year, we're going to end up with nothing. It's just, that's the fact. So we put our trust in you to lead us. We want your knowledge. We want your resources. We want your action. We want to know what you can do for us, because we would like access, both pedestrian and vehicular, to our beaches. Is there anything, I don't know how these meetings work. Is there a response that you can give us, or is there nothing? Just we say what we have to say, and then where do we go from here?
Well, we listen to what you're saying, and then we figure out a path forward. But,
Okay.
right on the spot when we're still taking in the information.
We
I
don't do
have
any
the
back and
answers.
forth.
Right, so no back and forth. So the path forward for us would be what?
Well, there's no back and forth you're here to provide your testimony.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I guess hearing from everybody is basically the first step, and then we will just keep coming back to the meetings and keep.
Yeah, you
We
go
go
to
to-
the trustees
There is
meetings,
a-
and then we'll talk to the trustees and the DEC. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, and then if it is the piping plover, I just wonder, do we have a habitat plan that we could, like, what is keeping us off the beaches every year? I know, is it, people said don't bring up the plover, but is it just the plover? Is it other residents that own property that don't want us there? What exactly is it? Are we entitled to know what is keeping us off our beaches?
So Shannon, the trustees are actually having an informational meeting on Monday, September 9th at 9:30 in the morning,
Okay.
where I guess Fish and Wildlife and DEC are going to present to the public. There's no real Q&A or input there, but
Mhm.
at least I think that's your next step, is to hear from them and hear what they say, as me as well, and I plan on asking questions, and I think all of us have heard from you all this evening, and now we have, I think this board has a better understanding of what exactly, you know, the picnic area is even, and what
Mhm.
we're looking for, and so we'll start with that meeting on the 9th. I know I plan on attending, and I know there will be time afterwards for us to ask questions of these regulatory officials, and, you know, we're just gonna
And
work
that
on this
meeting's
for
open
next year.
to the public as well?
The informational portion is, yes, so
Okay.
there's no Q&A, but you can come and you can hear what they
All
say.
right. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Well, I think you've gone. Yes, please. Come on up, Scott. You could tell us some more.
Yeah. Scott here is from he's the president of the trustee council. So,
Okay.
did you want to address some of
Did you
them?
want to respond to some
I
of
would
those?
respond to some of this to try and
Too
explain.
bad they're
but
leaving.
That's okay.
They can hear it out in the hall.
That's fine. Nobody's more frustrated with piping plovers than I am as president of the Board of Trustees. We've struggled with this with Mecox openings where we're battling environmental disaster. We struggle with it in Sagaponack as well. These are federally protected species that we don't have any discretion over picking and choosing what it is that we do. It's federal law, and we abide by federal law. And we are in constant contact with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on a regular basis for the proper handling of the situation. You know, the definitions that they have of take of a bird is not that you've killed the bird, but you perhaps altered its behavior and, you know, harassed it in some way, shape, or form. And you have to be very careful with that. And these are all regulatory authorities that we have to work with on a lot of other projects. And there has to be a mutual respect among all of the regulatory authorities. And we hear that time and time again of people speaking about this. You know, it's a, there's a lot of valid points. And we are having an informational meeting on 9/9. And I think that this forum is helpful because these folks all watch these meetings. So they can see and hear directly from the public. Even though they're not here tonight, they'll look at this meeting and they'll craft their comments and craft what it is that they're going to present on that day to answer a lot of these questions. So, you know, I think that's step one. They're asking about different plans and habitational plans. Some of these things are very, very complex to wrestle with, as you're aware. There's recreational issues, and then there's environmental issues. This board, I know, is very familiar how difficult it is to deal with these authorities. We were all on the phone back in April trying to get the Mecox Bay opened up, and we had birds that were in the way, and that took several days of collaboration among everybody for us to get the authority to do that with birds that were very, very close to that cut. So, you know, I, as the president of the trustees, I take everything that I hear very seriously. And in addition, you're aware that we're still battling litigation on this beach. And you know, you have people there that are obviously on the other side of this issue. And we're trying to preserve that tradition. And we preserve that tradition by following federal law, dotting every I and crossing every T, and making sure we do things the right way so that we don't have further issues. Because we want to keep this tradition alive reasonably, sensibly. These are all great people. They're the salt of our community. I've said this time and time again. There is a manner by which we keep this tradition alive by working together, being sensible and reasonable. It's a shared resource. And that sharing of the resource also includes respect of the Threatened and Endangered Species Program. So we're doing the best that we can. Step one is we're going to have a meeting with all of those other regulatory authorities, as Councilwoman McNamara pointed out, on the 9th. It is a work session. Those folks, they have to get clearance to come here. I think that a lot can happen by letting them give their presentation, listening to them, learning from them, because there's a certain degree of executive in nature here. There'll be some room for some discussions for the law enforcement folks and so on, and then we can build on it from there. But I'm very sensitive to what these issues are, and I'm also very sensitive to the fact that we're in a point in time at which it needs to be handled very reasonably and carefully, and that's what the Board of Trustees is trying to do. The other thing that I want to say.
Scott, can I actually ask a question?
You can.
Is that okay, Scott? When did the Threatened and Endangered Species Program come about?
It's back in the 70s, really, is when they passed these laws. And, obviously I think we've been doing this for... You have other acts that came into play in the 70s. Okay?
Oh, this is not... Hold on, this is just for... Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, honestly. Hold on.
I just want
to... They're not...
No, but to Joe's point, though, I understand there's a level of frustration because even for myself, when we dealt with... Hold on, Joe. When we had to... Franny was there. We had to open the cut by hand because they wouldn't let us take a bobcat on the beach. Remember, Franny? Yeah, and we sat there digging the cut, and we watched homeowners come out of their homes, go through the fencing area with unleashed dogs. Nothing happens to them. We watched kiteboarders in Mecox Bay as we were trying to open the cut because we couldn't disturb the birds that were over there. But a kiteboarder, no problems. So there is a level of frustration, and I think Fish and Wildlife and DEC need to hear that on a broader sense, that it can't just be the locals who abide by the laws who take the brunt of this. I mean, you have people that don't follow the laws, and they're not facing any issues with it, and you have people that serve this community that are frustrated because they follow the rules, and you tell them you can't get on the beach till August 15th, they stay off the beach. You don't see the homeowners going around that fenced area or leaving their dog on a leash, but nothing happens to them, and that's the level of frustration here.
Well, I share that same frustration, okay, which is why I'm here, okay? I don't have that power of enforcement, and I all the time ask for enforcement of the rules and regulations because lack of enforcement creates quality of life issues for everybody in this community, and it's problematic, and we've had those conversations too.
So are you telling the locals that want to go on the beach you can't enforce them going on the beach?
What I'm saying is that as trustees that keep this easement, we have a duty and a responsibility to abide by federal law so that we can maintain as much public access for vehicular traffic as possible. It doesn't pertain to, other types of things like catered events and whatnot. If there's vehicles on the beach, they have to be signed off on to make sure that they're going to be in compliance with the program, okay? And the office is in contact with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on a regular basis. Big concern that I have is that we have people that we put out there on that beach that are trained people. You can't just say, well, I'm going to volunteer to do this. You have to go through a program and be trained, and they are met with the same, just the same attitudes. These are 23 and 24-year-old young folks that are out there trying to do the good work of being in compliance with that plan, and they're met with, problems where they can't get on that beach without having somebody giving them a hard time. And I don't think that's right. I think we have to have respect for each other, respect for the laws, respect for the resource so that we can move forward. Okay? I don't have the ability to do anything other than make phone calls when I get reports of people with dogs and violating these laws, driving vehicles, driving other types of equipment, making phone calls, trying to get enforcement. That's what we do. We all took an oath to abide by those regulations, and we do. We've got a big project going on with Army Corps of Engineers. We all have to work together.
I just want to he's the president of the school, of the trustees. That's why we give him a few extra minutes. I have someone going like this 3 minutes to me. Out of respect for another elected official, we let him talk a little bit longer because he has a lot of answer to a lot of the people who are here about the picnic area.
And maybe when you have the meeting on the 9th with the DEC and the other officials, and they are aware of what's happening, perhaps there's a way to enforce, of course, the rules, but in a more narrow focus. Maybe the timing doesn't have to be so expanded, or maybe the fences don't have to be up for as long, or maybe the movable fences can be, put in place sooner, or and take up less area.
Listen, I agree. But as a president of the trustees, it's my responsibility to maintain integrity in that program. And I respect what those people do. I agree with you 100%. And they have relaxed some of the guidelines for us. They did that for us in opening Mecox and Sagaponack. And even in this, where they relax the distance down with our monitors to allow that beach to open, it's much less than what their guidelines are. I agree. We've done a very, very good job, and our strength has become our weakness because we've done such a good job, we're getting more and more birds. I personally think we should get the respect for that and be allowed to manage better, boots on the ground, because we have shown that we can do an excellent job with that. Let us make the decision. I was down there digging the Mecox by hand. Myself and James Duryea got water to run for a while, late afternoon, before it all collapsed in on us. Right? It was crazy. The bird that we were not allowed to bring our machines on was predated that morning. I told Supervisor Schneiderman I wanted to call, some type of an emergency to get it to open. Any other questions?
Maybe we can also talk to them about that. I'd like to have a meeting with them, with you, just to talk about the opening of the cut, and is there any leeway when it comes to an emergency situation?
We've had these discussions with them to try and get folks further up to relax and craft into the guidelines of our permits more flexibility. We can do this. I hear these folks loud and clear. It's just that these are federal laws, and we have to work through this in a certain way. We can't just poke them in the eye. It's just not going to work.
Well, we'll all look forward to the meeting on the 9th.
I think that would be a good first start.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and by the way, anybody can contact me at any time. I've made a lot of time to have conversations with people at our office in Hampton Bays, on convenient time, so we can explain these things to them as well.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, next up is Tom Garber. And after that, Joshua Parker.
I am Tom Garber.
Hi, Tom.
I am a fifth-generation resident of Newtown Road. My great-uncle, Thomas LeClaire Jakes, was a member of this board in the 1930s. I say this because I have a vested interest, of course, in Hampton Bays, town of Southampton, and Westwoods. And we've heard it all this evening. I implore you to set aside any social, political, or DEI feelings about this and approach it from a purely legal standpoint. I think we can all agree that there is a gray area involved with the zoning on Westwoods, and that if we're ever going to make some type of healing with the Shinnecock Nation, we have to have determination on what they can do there. And until that happens, there's going to be animosity on both sides, which is not good for anybody. The second thing that I think is really important is that you all took an oath to protect the laws of the town of Southampton and to protect us and our property rights. And if we feel that that is not being upheld, the town and you individually are liable, and that will be exercised. So I implore you to be proactive on this, and thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, and after Joshua is Maria Teresa Garber.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Josh Parker. I'm also speaking about the Westwoods development. With my family, we have a home on Quail Run adjacent to Westwoods for the last 17, 18 years. As you've heard, we gather here as residents concerned for our neighborhood and community facing a development that threatens that very fabric The Shinnecock Nation, under the protection of sovereignty, has embarked on a project that is rapidly transforming a residential area into a large commercial enterprise. A service station with 30 or so pumps, with likely more to come. We've heard this is phase one, convention center, perhaps a casino. The speed at which this project is advancing is alarming. Speaking, the time of action is now. Trees have been clear cut in the dead of night. Entranceways have been paved without consultation. Recently, a stop order was ignored and the sign was taken down that was issued. Engagement and transparency have been promised, but they remain mostly unfulfilled. We find ourselves in a position where reason and diplomacy seem to be met with disregard, if not outright defiance. Now, I am all for reasonable discourse, for measured negotiations, but as my father said to me as a boy, there's no more talking when the first punch is thrown. And make no mistake, the first punch has been thrown by the Shinnecock Nation's actions, not their words. We cannot continue to approach the situation with kid gloves when the other party has shown little respect for the community we cherish. This is not about denying the Shinnecock Nation their rights or their history. We respect the Shinnecock people, their heritage, and their rightful desire to build a future for their community. But it is also about ensuring that development is sensible, sustainable, and respectful to the residents who live here. A private developer would never be granted such leeway. They would be required to engage with every level of government, town, county, state, and with the community itself, ensuring all voices are heard and all impacts considered. Yet here we stand watching as a project bulldozes its way forward, literally and figuratively. We cannot allow our sense of reasonableness to paralyze us into inaction. If we are to protect our community, we must act now and act decisively. This means utilizing every legal and regulatory tool at our disposal to radically slow down this development until proper procedures and meaningful conversations can occur. Whether that involves banning commercial traffic, pursuing environmental protections, or other measures, we must do what is necessary. This is not about stopping a service station. It's about preserving the character of our community and ensuring that all developments, on sovereign land or not, are done with respect, care, and transparency. Imagine this was happening across your fence, in your backyard.
30 seconds.
There are things that you can do. I urge you to stand with us and take immediate strong action to slow down and more carefully consider this project. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Maria, it's Alan Roth. To the green.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. I've written to most of you.
Could you just state your name for the
Sorry,
record, please?
Maria Teresa Garber. I have written to most of you and to Fred Thiel, and I've heard back from Fred Thiel and from some of you. So you can put a face to my correspondence. My concern here is Westwoods. I am a resident of Hampton Bays on Newtown Road. And probably the rest of my community neighbors are more eloquent than I am. I'm going to echo my husband's words. Please look at the Westwoods development from a legal lens. If in fact prior court discoveries are accurate, then that land needs to be governed with the regulations of the town of Southampton, and in some part with the DEC. So it's not a matter of being in support of or in resistance to the Shinnecock Nation. It's about upholding the zoning regulations in a residential area. You now have an intersection where there hadn't been one before, and now a safety concern, and I'll tell you my own personal experience that happened this week prior to the paving of the Newtown Road borderline. I was traveling westward. A tractor trailer was coming out of the Westwoods property. traveling eastward. It could not maintain the turn and so came head on into the lane that I was traveling in. You have a safety issue there. God forbid we had come into contact. It could have been deadly. I travel slowly. It's a residential road. I feel like I want to say you're on notice now. We have a safety issue on Newtown Road as a result of unsupervised development there. I beg you, and may I have your attention also, as town attorney, I'm begging you, take this as a legal concern. Don't make it emotional or political. We all need to be protected. We're all residents, and we want to get along, but we want our rights to be protected as well. Thank you.
Okay, so Alan Roth, and then after Alan, I think it's Serena Lee, but it might be Elena Lee.
I'm Alan Roth. I live on Quail Run. Most of the things I was going to say have already been said, so I'm not going to repeat everything. But there is a general feeling that the town board has been totally absent on this whole Westwood issue. A stop work order was posted. It's been ignored. It's been torn down. There's a curb cut that was created on Newtown Road, which is just a 2-lane road that everybody walks, rides bikes, drives carefully on, and yet when was the application made to have a curb cut? Can they just put a curb cut there? I'm not sure, but the board, I believe the board's charter says you're supposed to protect our safety and our quiet enjoyment of our lives there, and with what's going on, our quiet enjoyment of our lives is being totally threatened. As far as the environmental issues, an area as large as they are proposing to have it paved with blacktop, and then the runoff from cars and trucks and gas and diesel fuel being running off into our backyards is just not, and into the Peconic Bay and Shinnecock Canal is just totally irresponsible. And I don't understand why the board isn't doing anything to question it or has not notified us. The last thing is that at one of the meetings, the Shinnecock Nation said that they were sending out 5,000 notices to the neighborhoods surrounding Westwoods to tell them what they were planning and what they were doing, and no one that we've talked to has received anything from them. So there's absolutely no communication from them to us. I don't know if there's any communication from them to you, and there surely hasn't been any communication from you to us. And that's sort of what we elected you to do, was to communicate with us and for us. And it's not being done. Thank you.
And after Ms. Lee, it's Ray D'Angelo.
Good evening, everybody. It's funny, I came here not for this. I came here actually for the beach, the driving on the beach, and it's just ironic that I'm here talking about Westwoods, and I am a tribal member. But God works in mysterious ways. I'm not even going to talk about that issue. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm not going to speak on that issue. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for actually the beach and the access to the beach, and wondering if the town and the local people, I call them local people, can come up with a plan to preserve what is historically meant for all of us. And that's access to the beach. Not just those that pay the highest taxes can destroy what all of us have done since the time of memorial. You have people that are sacrificing their time and their lives for us all year round. If you look around, there's not people here left that have come over on that boat from Lynn, Massachusetts, because they can't afford to live here. And it's sad, because my thing is, when I speak to anyone, is that we are all human. We need each other, regardless of what we think we are and who we think we are. because what affects me is going to affect you and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. And if you want to be a solution, is look beyond of what happened in the past, is to learn from the past, is have equality for those that are here now, struggling to stay in a beautiful community. So you keep paying attention to those people that are desecrating our land, those people that are local. And what I mean by that is that you pay attention to who can economically sustain this village. It was us before they came. It was your ancestors that fought for this land just as well as mine, and we're still fighting. And that's all I'm going to say on the Westwoods issue. We are still fighting. But my point to all of you in this room is look for the equality of life for everyone. Look for the economical sustainability of all of us. It's not just us against you. It's the 1%ers that hold the purse strings that dictate what happens in our small towns, that rape us, destroy us, and leave us on our playground, or they can't play anymore in our environments. They're raping all of us. It's not just about you in Hampton Bays or us in Southampton. They're destroying everyone's way of life, everyone's history, and everyone's peace. So until we can look beyond that and say we're all local and we're fighting for the same thing, which is peace and equality, these meetings will continue. These meetings will continue and nothing will be done. Because I don't know, are you scared that they hold the purse strings to your seats or the votes? What's going on? Ask yourself when you look at it, all the money that you obtain, is it worth your qualities of life? Is it worth humanity? Is losing humanity? We've lost that. We've lost that family unity that was here in Southampton. That sustained us. I'm so sorry. And Westwoods, everyone have a good night. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you, the Creator works miracles. Did not know he was going to be talking about Westwoods. Came on to champion for those firemen and those local people who like to picnic. Open it up. We can do this. I like to swim too.
Good. Thank you. So Ray D'Angelo, and after him is John Belo or Balo.
Okay, I got a lot of notes here. This is deja vu for me. Deja vu, the feeling of like I've been through this before.
Weren't you just
I've
here
been through this before with Bess, with the Bel Air Cove. All this stuff happens in Hampton Bays. I'm starting to wonder why. I mean, I'm here, Mr. Schiavone, right? You even said to me once, "Am I against everything?" And I'm not. But all this stuff gets thrown at Hampton Bays. Yeah, you did say that to me.
Hey, Ray, this thing will be gone in a few more weeks.
Well, yeah, but I had to get up here and lose my temper about it and everything. And then I got lambasted in the paper by your was it zoning board of appeals member. But anyway, we had the Shinnecock Nation, we're a fair group, the Hampton Bay Civic Association, in our July meeting, and they talked about that they had an environmental, not a secret, but they had an environmental study done, and they'd be glad to share it with us. So I wrote to them via email for that. I think we have not received that. The other thing is the nature of the ownership of the property. I mean, there's a couple issues here. Do they own it? And do they own it? Is it Aboriginal? Or do they own it and it's not Aboriginal? And those issues, to me, are still up in the air. And I thought that you guys were going to hire an attorney to look into this. And have you hired an attorney to do this? No. I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to answer that for you. No. And this is the problem. These good people come out here. Their houses, their whole way of life is being destroyed. And nobody's done anything. I said that last night at the meeting. I said, you guys are missing in action. Again, just like the best thing. Deja vu. Now, the Mohegan Sun, which is up in Connecticut, when they built that, they had extensive negotiations with the state. And they paid pilots, that's payments in lieu of taxes to the state every year, and they came out with a satisfactory solution. There's been no negotiations with the Shinnecock Nation, and there should have been. You know, they got like a blank check. They must be like, what the heck's going on? We can do whatever we want. And that's exactly what they're doing. And at our last meeting, one of our directors asked them about, this is in July, about if they were going to sell diesel. As you know, the main business out here is development. These machines use an incredible amount of diesel. And their diesel price would probably be $1 cheaper per gallon. I mean, the state's going to lose a lot of its sales tax on this deal. Okay?
30 seconds.
And of course they're going to use, because I don't think they're going to get access from 27, because they don't have enough land for a deacceleration or acceleration lane. They would need it to be deeded from the state to the nation. So now they plan to use, I guess, because they said they weren't going to extend the road down to Newtown Road, which is a substandard little road, and you're going to have all these big heavy trucks going up and down it. You know, and my point is, you could stop that by having a weight restriction on the road right now until you could slow this whole process down till we can bring some sanity to it.
3 minutes.
I've been waiting all night here. I had a tough day. I'm going to go over my time.
Ray,
Thank you.
come on, there's a lot of people. We can't do that. Thank you.
I'm speaking as the president of the Hampton Bay Civic Association. It has 350 members. Okay.
Then you get 1 more minute because of that.
Okay. The second thing is, again, is there sovereignty over the land? Absolute. We were discussing this last night. All right, they said, well, we can do whatever we want, but suppose there's a fire up there. Who's going to respond to the fire? It's going to be the Hampton Bay fire units, maybe Southampton units. Their sovereignty is not absolute over this property. They get grants from the state, they get grants from the federal government. So it's like a two-edged sword. They can't claim absolute sovereignty over it and have to accept all that help. So my point, I think, what I'm trying to make is, I think that you should take action on those roads, stop the project now, and then let's slowly negotiate and find out what the heck everything's standing here. And I think you should appoint that lawyer like you said you were going to appoint, and these people would restore some confidence in you. And maybe I wouldn't have to be here again every 3 months, deja vu, with another thing going on in Hampton Bays. Thank you very much.
Okay, John, and after John, it's Betsy Hitzman, or Heitzman.
I think we all can agree that our ancestors, I think, mainly came from Europe, and they might have been serfs. You know, they were badly treated. So we're not going back to the powers that be. We're not complaining about it. You know, we got over it. We got out of our serfdom, and we got jobs, we started businesses. It's time that the Shinnecock Nation did the same thing. And I think you're not being tough enough. You got to be tough. These people are fighting dirty, and you're fighting like gentle people, gentle women and gentle men. You have to get tough. Roy Cohn, who, if anybody remembers Roy Cohn, the combative attorney, Donald Trump studied law at his foot. That's where Donald Trump learned everything. And what you do is you fight. You make them pay money for lawyers. We're a whole town. We can afford attorneys. Get a guy in there who's going to fight, and he's going to, in a legal case, you got pegs. You got to find the right peg to hang your hat on. Now, get tough. Build a fence along that road. The town owns the right-of-way or whatever. Build a fence. They did a curb cut. Build a curb that's 2 feet high. Get tough, because these people are going to poison our water. You're going to be storing 20 or 30,000 gallons of gasoline and fuel oil there. I don't know if have they filed plans? Are there revetments for those gas tanks? I had a property in Brooklyn. We had a little bit of a fuel spill like 30 years ago, I think. We bought the property 10 years ago. It took us 2 years. The state made us clean it up. I think we got 3 gallons of oil. cost us $80,000 to get 3 gallons of oil. Do that to, we got to fight them. And you can't fight it by, sitting there and thinking that we've got to be gentle with these people because they suffered. We all suffered. Our ancestors suffered. Get over it. It's a whole town. We don't want our water supply destroyed. We don't want the bay destroyed. Get tough. Oh, somebody last night said, this is like the camel's nose peeking under the tent. Pretty soon you're going to have the whole tent, the whole camel in the tent. They're going to put up a 30-story building. They're going to have a casino. They're going to have concerts. There's going to be 20 million visits a year if you don't get tough. This is just the beginning. You got to nip it in the bud. Get a good lawyer.
Okay, so Betsy Heitzman, and then after Betsy is Robert Adams.
Hi, good evening, members of the Southampton Board. My name is Betsy Hitzman. I've been a homeowner at 4 Old Orchard Road since 2005. Old Orchard Road is off of Noyak Road by Major's Path, and I'm here tonight to discuss the amount of traffic and speed. We all know there's traffic on Noyak Road, but the amount of speeding in the 5 a.m., 6 a.m. hour by big, heavy trucks is very dangerous. It's so bad that my house shakes, and I live in a very well-built house, and it's fairly new. And it's unbelievable to me that these cars are able to do this. They're not cars; they're large trucks. And that's the other problem, is that there's no weight restriction on Noyak Road. And I don't know why these huge tractor trailers and all these trucks, they're destroying the road with the amount of times they're passing through and the amount of weight that these trucks have. These roads can't sustain it. It's a massive, massive engineering nightmare that's going to happen. The early morning, they just speed so fast. It's so disruptive. I wake up very early. I'm an early riser, and it's just unbelievable how loud and fast these trucks are. And then it's also quite dangerous. I mean, it goes on all day. We all know that it goes on all day, and it kind of slows down during the day. And then at night, you can't speed because it's so backed up. That part, whatever. I mean, that's just going to be a problem that happens. But it's really the speeding of the heavy, heavy trucks. And there has to be a weight restriction put on Noyak Road. And there was a weight restriction sign that was up, and it was taken down. And I don't understand why that was taken down. There was also a Jake brake sign that was put up, and that was taken down also. There were also radar detectors, but they're hidden by trees, and they're small. I mean, they're not much bigger than our phones. Like, they're just small. And it's very frustrating because then when you go to the Long Beach area towards Sag Harbor, you don't have one cop, you have 2 cops, and you have like 3 large speed detectors, and you know that you can't go above 40 miles per hour, and then it drops to 25, and you just know that you can't. So I don't understand why Noyak Road can't be treated the same way.
30 seconds.
I don't understand why large radar detectors cannot be put on the road, one at Southampton Cove, one at Major's Path, and another one at Rose's Grove. And it has to be there, and they have to be large. And the road also needs a weight restriction. We can't have these large trucks barreling down, going whatever speed they feel like going, because it's going to result in a very dangerous accident.
3
and there was
minutes.
an accident last week. A car crashed into a telephone pole, and it was, I don't know what happened, but that's the result of the speeding. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, if there was a sign, then maybe there already is a weight restriction. There was a sign there that came down.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So we'll look into it.
Thank you.
Is it the
Robert
Jake brake sign?
Adams.
Yes. I came to this. I came here tonight not to speak, but I felt it was necessary to speak. I'm one of these residents from Quail Run who's been here for 20 years, and I'm not going to say what everyone else has said because 9 o'clock at night. So I just want to restrict my comments a little bit to make them. I would just like to mention, because everything has been said, I think there's a legal issue here. I think an attorney should have been hired yesterday. I want the takeaway to be from this group, there's a sense of urgency here. There's a stop work order out there that has been just, it might as well have been a flyer from King Cullen. You don't just rip those things up. Mr. Burke knows that. He's the town attorney. Mr. Iaselli, I appreciate you said you're talking to attorneys. You have to hire one. It should have been hired weeks ago. There's a stop work order that is being disregarded. We talk about, and I'm not here to say anything about the sovereign nation, or I'm not here to speak about that. But you can't just, this is not something to be disregarded. The town has services, has fire and all those things, safety issues just been brought up. This cannot go unabated. That construction company, that's not a sovereign, that's a corporation. It's either a construction manager, a general contractor. They have to follow rules, right? And if they're not following town rules, they shouldn't be allowed to do whatever work they're doing there. That we all hear, the people on Quail Run here every day. He's got things in his backyard. We got people here. Unacceptable, period. Period. We pay your taxes, those services we pay for. Something goes wrong there, the fire, the police, you have things to do. I'm not saying it's you, period, but there's got to be a sense of urgency. This has got to be happen tomorrow. You can't sit here and let people just rip up a stop work order. It's a court order, period. This is not something, this has got to be done, and it's got to be done yesterday or months ago. So that's all I want to say. I'm not going to get into the whole issue about anything else. But it's directed more to the town attorney because it's in his purview. The rest of you folks who are interviewing attorneys, I don't know what you're waiting for. If it wasn't months or weeks, the time is now. Now. Right? I live on there. I see the same, my grandkids were I can't walk on Newtown Road anymore. I can't walk down to the Peconic Bay anymore because there are trucks coming. That road was not designed for those type of trucks. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. You can't let it go unabated like that. Period.
30 seconds.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Jim? Jim?
What, Bill?
Can you say something?
No, I'm not gonna, it's not the appropriate place to be.
Can I have my 1 minute? I decline speaking, but I do want to say.
Sure.
We are, I mean, I can say that we are looking into legal representation to address these issues. I think. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Leo Soma.
For 3 hours and you cut into my conversation right now.
I live on Red Creek Road. I've been there since 1981. I've been coming out here since the mid-70s. Many things were said. I'm not going to repeat. I did have a whole list, but technology killed me. My phone, my battery went dead.
Oh, no.
So honestly, that's why I declined. But after hearing some things, there are 3 issues that I just want to make clear. Number one, been to many meetings, and I'm tired of them saying that we as citizens have to write to our state assemblymen or congressmen or senators. I'm sorry, that's your job. You've heard the voice of everybody. You all need to do that for us. Number 2, the stop work order. If I had a stop work order on a house that I'm building right now that took me 2.5 years to get a building permit, I'd have to stop work. And if I pull that sign down, I'd be issued a summons immediately. That stop work order has to be put up right away. And you can't speak to me and respond to me, but should we be doing something? Should we be calling? Should I call code enforcement again? I don't live on Newtown Road. Obviously, someone did. But what's going to be done to put that stop work order sign back and monitor it? Put a patrol person there and monitor that and do traffic safety at the same time. That's the second point. The third point is if this is going to proceed, you have to fight to get the state involved to help get access off of 27. And Newtown Road is not going to handle it. The curb cut that was put there, the town engineer should have been involved with that and made sure that was the right location to put that curb cut if it was going to go there. I had to go through the town engineer to get my building permit. It had to go through the road review committee. Someone talked about the road review committee. That took 6 months to get because I went on a private road. Was Tom Houghton, the town engineer, consultant on where that curb cut should go? You can't let these things go unaddressed. One fourth point, I spent 16 years. I live on a turn that used to be called Dead Man's Turn on Red Creek Road. I personally spent 16 years working through 3 different supervisors. Mr. Heaney, Schneiderman was one, and there was one in between, and 2 different highway superintendents. I got that road realigned myself by coming to a meeting like this, and it was suggested, and I'm going to suggest this to everyone that's part of Westwoods. We should have, you say you can't speak? Well, let's schedule a work session, and those work sessions are specific topics that all of the voices that were heard here tonight can talk and you could respond. So why aren't we having a work session? Does the town still hold work sessions? How do we get a work session so you could hear the voices of the people for and against Westwoods? That's all I have to say.
Mr. Burke, I think you were about to say something.
I don't.
Jim got cut
I don't have any other comments tonight. We can talk other times, please.
We have to have a work.
Excuse me?
You were cut off.
This is not the time.
You were cut off.
There's not. Listen, if you want to talk some other time, I've met with a lot of the folks here. Myself and the town board have looked into this. It's not a situation where we've ignored this. We've talked about our options. We've reviewed our options. We're considering different avenues to go here. I hope that a number of people understand that this is a very unique and complicated issue. Most towns in the country do not have federally recognized sovereign nations in their border, right? Especially on the eastern area. Most of the major Indian federally recognized tribes are in the middle of the country, or most of them are in the west. So this is a unique situation, and I'd say the speed or the ongoing project was also, turns to be very quickly. We've been working with the tribe. We've been talking to them about what their plans are. They promised that we'd be talking to them more in detail, get more information. Some of that information has now not been brought to us. So the board to some degree is also frustrated by the issues, and we certainly appreciate the fact that people that live very closely on Quail Run, I've driven up and down that road. I've driven on Newtown Road every day to see what's happening there. So it's not like we're ignoring this, but we also have to understand. I've also reached out to the federal government, the state government, the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We're trying to get responses from them. This is we have to understand it's a very complex issue, but I want to make sure that I'm telling you that we're not ignoring this, and this is a top priority for the town at this point. It's the best I can say.
Well, no.
A work session is not going to take.
A work session is when we have work sessions, so we discuss it ourselves. We don't hear from the
Explain to you, it's not that easy just to say. We can't treat the Shinnecock Nation like you treat just your typical neighbor. The town code violations may or may not apply to the Shinnecock Nation, a federally recognized sovereign tribe, as it does to your neighbor, and that's the issues that we're dealing with here, right?
So and we asked you to put stops on that road. Do we have to bring our cars there and back to it ourselves?
Wait, come on.
Excuse me.
Everybody had
you
their
can't talk from
opportunity.
the back.
All
right, we're trying to keep this respectful. Okay, you've been here before.
So now it's time for the Zoom.
Now it's time for the Zoom.
Kevin,
Thank
is
you,
there
Jim.
anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard? Okay. Yes.
Yep.
Hello.
I have to start with an apology. I've been on land since 6 o'clock, and I did want to talk about the pattern book. For some reason, I was not able to raise my hand and access discussion with you. So I apologize for starting late. It was an interesting discussion I've been listening to, but I would like to make one point with regard, or maybe several points with regard to the pattern book. And again, I apologize for being so late. First of all, I appreciate Mr. Mayor's statement that he felt that the drawings on pages 100 and 101 were probably best eliminated from the pattern book. And that's what we had requested, I had requested last time. But I have to say, I also want to thank you all for revising page 101 to show that there were going to be bollards on the proposed new roads, or the ones that are shown on this drawing, to limit vehicular access. I know Mr. Paola had said that he was not necessarily in agreement with his layout. He probably isn't. He probably wants some other layout. And I understand this would not bind him to be stuck with this layout. But what I really appreciate about this is the fact that in conjunction with the drawing on page 11, really it's the drawing on page 11, which shows proposed possible new roads, only go to the border of Mr. Paola's property. And that's significant because there is no connection between Good Ground Park Road and the property line to Mr. Paola's property in the park. In other words, these little drawings that show where the bollards joining the traffic circle do not exist currently. So there is no connection, real connection, between what would be a proposed road and Good Ground Park Road, because Good Ground Park Road is located totally within the boundaries of Good Ground Park, which of course is a CPF park. I believe at one point in the meeting last week, Mr. Paola indicated that he would talk to the county with regard to seeing if they would agree to allow a connection between proposed road and his property and Good Ground Park Road. Well, Good Ground Park Road is really not under the control of the county. It is subject to state laws because it's a CPF funded property. Every teaspoonful of land on that property, including the blank space between Good Ground Park Road and the property line, belongs to a CPF property. And I know we've raised before that state law, sections 64E9 and E9A are very specific about what you can do on every square inch of that land. And it says, it bears repeating, that it can only have uses that are compatible with natural, scenic, historic, and open space character of the lands. With regard to open space, this is an open space passive park.
30 seconds.
Limits improvements to enhancing access for passive use. That doesn't mean taking excess traffic off of Montauk Highway. That does not mean giving access for commercial or residential developments. That means if you're going to enhance passive use, which I can't imagine blowing traffic off of Montauk Highway would enhance passive use, it's not allowed. Your town code, section 140, is just like the state law. So if you're going to build any connectors between Good Ground Park Road and that private property next door, it has to be a CPF project which will not facilitate anything other than passive use of that road and that park.
3 minutes.
It's going to come up in the future. It is going to come up in the future. So that is the point I wanted to make, whether you leave the maps in or not. I feel that is very, very important. And here's the next important
Excuse me,
thing.
could you please identify yourself for the record?
I'm sorry. My name is Linda Wells, and I live at 20 Cemetery Road. My niece and I share a property. She's at 10, I'm at 20.
Thank you.
You would have been past 3 minutes.
Very clever, and this happened to us with regard to the STP at 30 Cemetery. Positioning things on private property
Say it
so
again.
that you don't have to advise the neighbors.
4 minutes.
You got you're up to 4 minutes. We have a lot of stuff to do.
But we're not putting the SDP on the Cemetery Road property.
I'm just saying, what happens is oftentimes something is already done, before the immediate neighbors that any notice that this happened. And that's why we But thank you very much. I appreciate you taking me so late.
And I'm sorry you had to wait so long to get in, that there was a technical issue.
That's okay. It was a very interesting conversation and too bad I'm out of my zone.
Yes.
Thanks for staying on.
Thank you.
All right. Well, now, Kevin, is there anyone else on Zoom that would like to be heard?
There's anybody else? Yes.
Mhm.
Yay. Happy public hearing night. Do you imagine? 3 public.
What did he say?
He said they put their hand down, we're good. Close it.
All right, so everyone's that filled out a card has had an opportunity to speak. And so
Can you please tell us where we should go from here, or where this is going to go from here, since
we're
you've indicated that
there's nothing that you all can do. You've made your concerns known to us, and now we're working with our town attorney, who's working with outside counsel to get some answers. And we have reached out to the congressman and to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and we are doing those things to try to get answers.
And can we send our
You
feelings
really
that
have
we've
You
let
can't really
Oh,
talk.
sure.
You
to
can
the
continue to send your
microphone.
feelings, your pictures, your videos.
I mean, to the
Yeah.
outside counsel, so they sort of have a flavor of what this case is all about. And
We'll pass it all along. It's all, the best thing you can do is just keep sending it to us and we'll put it all together and.
You can send it to my email address, which is townclerk@southamptontowny.gov, and then I will pass it along to the
all of
town
us.
board.
Okay. All right. So when I move, excuse me.
I
What?
just want to say, why can't you take action on the roads that you control, and slow this thing down? That's why we're all mystified. Why can't you do anything? You control Newtown Road. You can take action on it, and you can slow this whole process down. We just don't understand it. We're all mystified by that.
I know. Well, we're trying to get the answers. Okay, so given that it's 9 o'clock and we still have our agenda to get through, we're gonna, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Does anybody
You wanna
just
let
wanna
everybody
get
leave
some
for a second?
water? I'm gonna grab some water. I'm gonna take a,
Yeah, I'll grab some water too.
We're good. It's a quick agenda. It's not long. We can go right through it.
I need some water.
Or not.
I'll be here.
Can I go through your office?
We still have a quorum.
Yes.
We can keep going. Kim, would you like to go get water? Go ahead. You know what? If we're all going, I'm gonna go. Anybody else need Madison?
No, you use a beer.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Bill.
You did a good job. Now, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice of you to say that.
Live? Of course, yeah.
Should have been a cop. Should have been a fireman.
Okay.
First resolution.
We got to go back on live.
Oh.
Kevin, are we ready to go? I don't think.
Okay, thank you.
We ever came off the line.
Town Board Resolution 957 of 2024, I am going to withdraw at this time. I'm going to continue to work with the county on this because I'm not going to, as you heard from the...
I'm so glad you have a
Delia.
meeting with the county on this so we can get
Yeah,
to the
well, I
bottom
just
of it.
hope, I asked them about the sidewalk in Hampton Bays. It's been 5 months and I still haven't heard anything, so I'm hoping this moves a little bit faster, so...
Yeah, if you could bring him out, get him out here, that'll make
That's
it work.
the big if.
He's good.
Yeah.
Atlas Sprague is
Yeah,
very
I'm
responsive.
hoping
He's
he'll
very
come
good.
out.
He's very good.
Town Board Resolution 1004 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Yaselli, to amend Town Board Resolution 2023-1284 to revise the distribution of CDBG funds for the fiscal year 2024 and authorize the supervisor to sign the project description forms. Do I have a second?
Councilman
Second,
Isley?
sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1005, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize the purchase of computers for police vehicles from Island Tech Services LLC using Omnia Partners contract and the New York State OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1006, authorized purchase drop deck tilt trailer from Fellow Trailer Inc. using Sourcewell contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1007, authorized purchase of a Ford F-250 van from Van Bolton Ford Inc. using NYS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1008, authorized purchase of a Ford F-550 dump body from Otis Ford Inc. using NYS contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1009, co-sponsored with Councilmember Iacilli, to authorize the purchase of Ford Transit T350 from Ferrario Ford Inc. using the New York State contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1010 of 2024, authorized purchases of, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorized purchases of lab services, soil and groundwater analysis from Pace Analytical Services, Inc. and Long Island Analytical Labs using Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1011, to authorize purchases of supply and delivery of auto parts with Advanced Stores Company, doing business as Advanced Auto Parts, Grade A Petroleum, Fleet Pride, Inc., and Morgan Auto Supply, Inc., using the East Hampton contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1012 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Yaselli, authorize the supervisor to issue a satisfaction of a buyer benefit note and mortgage on a community benefit unit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1013 of 2024, co-sponsored Councilman Pell, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with GEI Consultants Engineering, Geology, Architecture, and Landscape Architecture to develop a lake management plan for Long Pond and Little Long Pond in Sag Harbor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1014, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract with Historical Concepts for professional conceptual design and visioning services for the comprehensive implementation of the Riverside Overlay District zoning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think that might help people visualize a little better what we're planning for Riverside.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1015, authorized the purchase of heavy-duty wheel balance from Mohawk Lift LLC using NYS OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1016, authorize the supervisor to execute a 2024 preventive maintenance agreement with the Best Climate Control for maintenance service on the air conditioning and/or heating equipment at Southampton Town Police Department main building located at 110 Old Riverhead Road in Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1017 of 2024, co-sponsored with the entire board. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign the 2024 South Fork Bakery, authorize the supervisor to sign the 2024 South Fork Bakery for the Special Needs Corp Human Services Grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I just want to thank Councilmember Tommy John Scavone for all your efforts with this. I know you've been working with this group since you came onto the board, and they're very pleased with a lot of the work that you did. And I know you also did a lot of work trying to make sure that they got funding, and I appreciate that. The differently abled community, I think, is very appreciative of your efforts. So
Thank you for saying so. It's a good organization.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1018 to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with ADJO Contracting Corp. for Town Hall sanitary system replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1019 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Mercedes-Benz of Southampton for Mercedes-Benz Sprinter cargo van.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, did anyone say anything about that? Did Tom Houghton say anything to anyone about that?
About This? what?
Yeah, I
No.
thought there was something about the Mercedes model. Okay, well, if he didn't, then he didn't. Town Board Resolution 2024-1020, co-sponsored by the entire board, to recall and amend a resolution number 2023-1206 as it relates to a source of funding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And, of course, that relates to the Bel Air demolition, which started this week, which we're
Yes,
very
very
happy
exciting.
about. Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully be done quick.
Yeah. Let's see, Town Board Resolution 2024-1021. Oh, to adopt the 2025 budget process schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm getting that to you by September 30th.
Town Board Resolution 1022 of 2024, accept a donation for the Division of Senior Services in memory of Lester Ellison.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1023 to authorize the general fund pay-as-you-go to purchase roll-off containers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Town Board Resolution 2024-1024 to recall and amend Resolution 2024-953 authorizing the Highway Fund pay-as-you-go for speed cameras.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1025 to authorize additional funds for legal services for Stephen Leventhal Esquire for ethics matters in 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to just say a word about Resolution 1024, the speed cameras. These are actually being purchased for speed display at this.
Like a,
Yes,
shows how
there's no-
fast you're going?
No, right. I wouldn't want the world to think that we
Yeah,
are
there's no-
employing
there's
speed
no-
cameras and, but although these
It
do
would
have that
require,
equipment, but
it
they
would
are
require,
speed displays.
yeah, it would require
Yeah. a lot,
further legislation.
Considerable amount.
No, I think they're,
At the
for
state level.
construction sites, though, I think they did want to put cameras there, but I think they need permission for that, right?
There's, you need state legislation.
Like I said, it's mostly for display, and they're
Mhm.
mobile, they can be moved around, but just I think that's important. Thank you. Moving on.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 2024-1026 to authorize the settlement of the Suffolk County Department of Health matter ENF-24-00008 for site number SITE-13464-OPC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, all for $787.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1027 to authorize the town attorney to file a motion to intervene on behalf of the town of Southampton in the action of Newburgh Realty 2 LLC against IPA Asset Management LLC and Island Properties and Associates LLC, filed with the Supreme Court under index number 600124-2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1028 to authorize the town to reimburse New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, NYMER, the deductible for bodily injury and property damage claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1029 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Galilee Church of God in Christ Violence-Free Block Party, which was held on August 24th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1030 of 2024, a release of maintenance bond in connection with the Hampton Business District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1031, authorize the sole assessor to attend the 2024 NYSAA Annual Conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1032 to accept the retirement of Elizabeth Roy, Senior Justice Court Clerk in the Justice Court.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1033 to appoint Victoria Lopez to Senior Justice Court Clerk position in the Justice Court.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1034 to accept the resignation of Thomas Payton III, Police Officer in the Police Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And good luck to Thomas Payton III at Suffolk County Police Department.
Yes, we wish him all the best. Town Board Resolution 2024-1035 to appoint Bernard Mulligan Jr. to Public Safety Dispatcher 3 position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1036, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to appoint Cameron Harwright to Harbor Master 1 position.
It's pronounced handwrite?
Oh, I'm sorry. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Handwrite to Harbor Master 1 position in Southampton Town Police Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations, Cameron.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1037 to appoint Susan Redding to Senior Office Assistant position in Municipal Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1038 to appoint Johnny Bedell to Sanitation Helper in Municipal Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution 2024-1039 to terminate an employee in the Municipal Works Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1040 to appoint Stephanie Orlando to Assistant Senior Citizens Center Manager position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1041 to appoint Tony Latanzio to Office Assistant in General Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1042 of 2024, co-sponsored Councilman Pell. A notice of public hearing to consider wastewater treatment and pollution prevention projects proposed for the 2024 Community Preservation Fund, CPF, 20% Water Quality Improvement Plan grant funded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that'll be on September 5th, public hearing, 1 o'clock.
Town Board Resolution 1043 of 2024, also co-sponsored Councilman Pell. Notice of public hearing to consider the aquatic habitat restoration non-point source abatement of and control projects proposed for the 2024 Community Preservation Fund, CPF 20% Water Quality Improvement Plan grant funding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll
Aye.
be hearing those on September 19th at 1 o'clock.
Town Board Resolution 1044 of 2024, setting public hearing for a deed of dedication of open space in connection with the final conditional approval of the Rothman Dynasty subdivision in the hamlet of Watermill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
that's September 24th, 6 p.m.
Town Board Resolution 1045 of 2024, notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 330-210, miscellaneous provisions of Article 22, signs as it relates to the placement of political signs.
Before we have a second here, I just want to say that, once again, I would say that I'm a candidate for New York State Assembly. This public hearing is going to be in September, and I'm recusing.
Wait,
again.
before you do that, Councilman, Can I just say that since this has been amended, I believe this is merely, and maybe council can confirm this or the sponsor, this seems to have been amended to be more like a memorializing resolution of the existing code. And perhaps the title needs to be amended to not include political signs so that it doesn't have a direct political implication.
Because it's all signs.
Right.
But
in the right of way.
but it changes the word. It changes. I don't know if Tom,
Yeah,
you
I'm
wanna
not
stay
going to
for this
discuss. Thank you.
conversation?
I appreciate
Bye.
It does change a section of the code under miscellaneous provisions to add inclusive of political signs, which was the change. That's why there's a public hearing. It's changing the code to add that in to make it clear because it has obviously been very unclear to people.
Well-
So it is a memorializing in that aspect, but it is also adding forwards to the code.
Well, you know, when this was first put forward, the changes, it was, you know, I accepted the premise that there was no political signs were allowed in the public right-of-ways. But now that I've had the opportunity to review the code in detail, I see that that is not true. And signs, no signs are permitted in the right-of-way unless placed there by the government or unless it's an awning or a canopy. So, you know, what the code says, it seems very clear to me that there's not really a need for clarification because it already says no sign other than a sign erected by a government agency or canopy awning shall be erected in the right-of-way. I mean, it couldn't be more clear. So, I don't know, I just don't think it's
obviously been
necessary.
misconstrued for very many years because when I put forward the original public hearing notice, it was argued that, you know, we were giving precedence to county roadways and you know, people that live on highways, and I think this clarifies it. I think it makes it very clear. The real issue is, in addition to business signs, is political signs, and with it not being clear, I really felt the need to clarify it.
So it really is just I don't want to say a regurgitation, a reiteration of the existing code with
making it
an enhancement of the miscellaneous provisions.
But you're not
Because people
including every sign. I mean,
No,
there's
because
other
people thought
signs,
that
too.
people thought that political signs, because they're under exemptions in our town code under signs, there's an exemptions clause, and people obviously assumed that because, as I did, without really clearly reading the code, you would think that political signs are exempt from the code. They are not, and this just clarifies that because it was political signs that were really being abused in the town right away and on town properties. I mean, we had CPF properties, and it like you're saying, it is the code. I would prefer to have it clarified.
So are we able to, are you willing to amend the title to simply read Notice of Public Hearing to Consider Amending Town Code Section 330-210 Miscellaneous Provisions of Article 22 as it relates to the general permissibility
Should we just put as it
of
relates
signs?
to the placement of signs and leave
Placement of-
political out of the title?
Yeah, placement of signs.
I would be more comfortable
Okay,
supporting it.
I will remove
The word
political from the title.
But, you know, we're doing something here. We're taking resources and spending money, revising the code to put something in that's already there. It already says no signs in the right of
But
way.
people obviously don't understand that.
I would
Well,
say-
what people?
I
What,
would
you
take-
know,
I
The
would take
people
the
that have ran
money-
in all the past elections have put all their signs in the right of way.
well, we have the code in West Hampton Beach that says no signs in the right of way, but people do it anyway. So, I mean, I just think people are going to do what they're going to do, even if
I
know,
would like
we
it,
as
I would
candidates
like
tell
it to
them
be
not to.
clarified in the code.
I think you're better off taking the time and the money for enforcement.
Do you have a CPF ranger that you can send out or something?
I think we're hiring a CPF ranger.
Yes.
Send them out, pick up those signs.
I'm putting forward a resolution for a public hearing. It's for public input.
Could we amend?
I said I would take political out of the title.
I mean, go ahead. We have the public hearing.
I'm
I
going to
just think it's
second
a
the
waste
public
of-
hearing.
time.
So long
Okay,
as
so-
contingent on the
It's
amended
gone.
title.
It's gone.
Do we, Madam Clerk, do we need a motion to amend the title?
To remove political?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay, a motion to amend,
To say.
to remove political.
Do
From
we
the
want-
title.
Word political from the
do we
title,
have-
just from the title.
From the
Okay,
title.
okay.
You gonna second that?
Second the amendment?
All in favor?
Aye.
The intent is to include, to
Yes, we have 2 votes for a public
keep
hearing.
the words inclusive of political signs in the change
In the body,
code. Right,
yes.
right.
Okay,
Some-
we're
some-
voting on the amendment right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Okay. There's only 2 votes here?
Yeah. We're again not having a public hearing. The board that ran on listening to the public and getting public
That's not
input.
fair.
That is
That's-
fair.
that's not
This is
fair.
the what, 3rd, 4th public hearing I haven't been able to get on the agenda. A public hearing. This is not a resolution of adoption. This is a public hearing.
But to say that we're not listening to the people is not.
You're not. If you don't want a public hearing, you're saying you don't want to hear from the public.
I just said that.
I know
was
you
fa-
do.
So, but I think that it's not a wise use of words to label everyone.
You're saying
as-
no to a public hearing. How more clear can you get to saying we don't want the public's input on this item?
All right, okay, how about this? I will say, I will vote in favor of having a public hearing, even though I do believe that it's not necessary to make this change.
fine.
But if you want to put it to the public on the code change,
So right now we're voting
As
on
amended.
amending
As
the
amended.
title. We have a second.
I second the amendment.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve is amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I seconded.
Okay.
So we're putting it on for a
Thank
public
you.
hearing, period, that's it.
Still vote against the resolution when it comes up.
Okay. So I'm gonna take all my other scribbles.
I mean,
I don't know if our codes, some codes have like a 30-day, or they have a period of time where they allow political signs. I don't know if we have that in our code, but maybe that would clear.
We don't. It just
Right.
needs to be clear because it's being
What's the next one?
Yeah.
you gotta get Tommy John to come in.
It's coming. Next one is his.
The next one is his.
Town Board Resolution 1046 of 2024. I'd like to make a motion to table it to our next meeting on September 10th.
Second. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay, you can have it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1047 of 2024. Authorize the co-sponsored with the entire board, to authorize the acquisition of properties located at 320 McGee Street and 370 Moses Lane in Tuckahoe for the production of community housing through the Community Housing Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1048, to recall and amend Resolution 2020-904, road review, application for Kirk Warner, 0900-076, come on, .00-5.00-015.000, situated at North Sea, is accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1049, to recall and amend Resolution 2023-1424, road review application to take 2 Capital LLP, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-382-1-4.6, situated in West Hampton, is accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oops, I missed this one. Town Board Resolution 2024-1050, road review application for 8 Luther Drive LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-178-1-17.053, situated at Watermill, is accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1051 of 2024, co-sponsored with the entire board. Recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 652 of 2024 as it relates to the donation transfer of land at the terminus of Bay Bluff Way, Noyak, to the Community Preservation Fund, and the amendment of CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the 5 walk-ons. So, Town Board Resolution ID number 47313 to approve the warrant number 16, capital number 16, CPF number 16, dated August 27th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID 47275, waive a portion of the showmobile fees for the San Gennaro Feast of the Hamptons.
Second, and I'd like to co-sponsor.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution ID 47277, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue Swim Challenge.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47303 to appoint Kathleen Vermeulen to Senior Office Assistant position in Municipal Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution ID number 47294 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for the Alewife Creek Culvert Restoration.
Second. Let's get these
All
people
in
paid.
favor?
And co-sponsor, Madam Clerk.
Can you put me on it too, please?
This is the 5th one.
Yeah. 47294.
Yeah, that's good. That's paid. All right, that's great, everybody. What a meeting.
Okay.
If no one else has anything to say, then I move to close the meeting.
Second.
Can I just update you all very quickly on the Head Start thing?
Oh,
Just,
sure.
it
That's a
won't
good
take
idea.
very long. The town of Riverhead has space on Main Street, and they are offering that space to the Head Start program.
And it
which
can
is-
accommodate all 88 of the students, the children?
They're touring the building. I mean, it's certainly not going to be an exact fit. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the space or the building, but they're stepping up. So good for them. And we are also
That's
looking
excellent.
for kitchen facilities for Head Start. So
Great.
we're still looking for that
Did you
as
check
well.
with the
And that's the
building?
short term. The long term is getting a new building.
Any
So-
updates on your conversation with the Suffolk County Community College?
No
Okay.
updates. They haven't. Yeah, and by the way, that particular part seems to be handled by the town of Riverhead as far as like housing the children so they can open up next week. So
And they have their
that's good.
materials in our building until they're probably going to collect them all
Right,
for
right. That's correct.
use, and then we can go ahead with the demolition.
They were going to come in and move their stuff and get a storage facility, but we indicated to them that it is climate controlled in the building. It's not, nothing is going to happen. It's locked up. It's secure, and when they need it, they can come and get it. So
Thank
we're
you.
all up
Thank
to
you for
date.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Need a safe place for the kids.
Yep.
All right, good, thank you. So, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.